start
on the way home from the Flite Fest.
Yeah. Hold on, we do need to record a little bit of some snoring for me and you, Jesse.
Who's driving? We're both snoring.
Well, not all at the same time. There'll be the blooper reel. He's just snoring for like 10 minutes.
You missed it. Like, you missed your opportunity earlier.
What, to do what? To record you?
To catch me snoring.
I know. Well, look, we can fix that.
From the sound of it, I was really
take
going
it
on.
over.
Here we are.
Yep, we made it.
Flite Fest 2024.
I'm glad you reminded me of the year.
Yeah, well,
I mean, it's been a long day.
it's important to document these things.
It might have been a year that just passed.
It could have been.
It could have been. That was a long drive. That could have been a year.
Right?
It was a long day.
Made it here with a trailer.
Trailer's nice.
New untested trailer.
That towed decently.
Yeah, as long as we weren't going over 80.
Yeah, which we think we might know.
I think we might know the cause.
You have to see if it's rubbing or something. That's the only other worry, and I don't think it is. But
No, I think it's just chunks of rubber literally coming off the tire.
Okay, new tire.
Yeah, time for a new tire.
Okay,
It made it.
I'll work on that tomorrow.
We're here. It's here.
Yep.
The stuff in it is here.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, who needs to go faster than 75 anyway, really?
No, most of the roads were 70-mile-an-hour roads. And 75 was perfectly reasonable.
Yeah.
For the time frame, we put it
But
all
if you're
together.
a cop, we were only traveling the speed limit ever.
Right. 100%. So, 9 hours of actual driving, a couple pit stops.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't counting, but it felt like it.
Yeah, well, I know that's what it is. And then we had this morning, we have some things to finish up and get packed up. And
Yeah, I'm a little worried because I kind of took, this box, and this box, and this box, and I wasn't thinking, are the things I need in that box? So we'll find out. We got most of the important things to rebuild or reconstruct. If we'd had more time at Walmart today, I would have probably gotten a wooden dowel to fix the tail sag or whatever you want to call that, the failure for the... But that's okay. We can brace it, I think.
oh, for the Giant Wonder?
Yep. Giant Wonder is mostly built.
The lovely thing about this event, though, a lot of people, a lot of friendly people, a lot of good supplies laying around, people willing to help.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not so worried.
And we're not really in the middle of nowhere. There are things around.
You know what's amazing? Is it was really cool when we got here. There was a ton of planes that were lit, flying around.
There was.
Probably about 8 to 10 wings, mostly.
Various things I saw in the air as we were getting tents set up. But it was really, I paused, took a look. It's a great way to enter the facility, just kind of lit up planes.
Yeah.
Flying around.
Yeah.
And there'll be even more in the nights to come.
Of course. We're distracted right now by this
The moonbow.
gorgeous moonbow.
Yeah.
As we've coined it.
Yep.
Moonbow.
Yeah. It's the rainbow you see looking through clouds at the moon.
It is pretty.
Yeah. And the Taj Mahal, for those who care, is up and fully operational.
You got the flag in the air.
Yep, flag is in the air, not as tall as it could be.
Camp is officially set up.
Yeah, we are officially set up.
It will improve throughout the week, I'm sure.
Or it won't.
Or it's just the way it is.
It'll be what it is.
Define the Taj Mahal.
That's my tent.
Yeah,
the 3-room
L-shaped thing.
L-shaped 20 by 20 tent.
3-room with a foyer, bellhop.
Yeah. It does come with a sub-basement.
And you gave me so much crap about my tent.
So
Not
you
the
pulled
tent.
out a tent that I thought was going to be one of those little, like, dome tents from Coleman that fits, like, maybe a queen if you're lucky.
No, that was the other tent.
And that's what right. And then you pull out this other one. I'm like, oh, that's not the real tent. And then we blew up the bed the other time. I went, oh, now I know why.
Uh-huh.
I still love that. that air mattress with a headboard.
I was really tempted when I was buying the queen
to get one.
To get one of those with the, like it was a chaise lounge or something like that. Like,
they're comfy.
You
slept on it that
I'm not going to say anything about it. I'm just going to leave it at, I was tempted.
I'm sleeping on the table, so.
Looks like one of the built tents is lit up. So we'll probably go over there in a little bit, just see what's going on.
Scope the place out.
Yeah. Otherwise, I think I'm exhausted. I'm ready for bed.
It's been a very full couple days.
Yeah.
2 or 3, really.
Well, especially for you guys, because you came into town.
Jesse came in early.
It was a very, very long Friday for me. I don't know what day it was, really.
Yeah, he came in Friday night his time, which was Saturday morning, Saturday morning our time.
There were 2 days in one for me. I didn't sleep that night.
Right, you basically... It
was a red-eye flight.
Yeah.
With a time change. Ooh. It's a good night.
Yeah. Okay. But by the time it was 8 o'clock, it was okay to go to bed.
I powered through
and you just
I could get on the right time zone.
Yeah, and you were on our time zone. You didn't seem to be affected by much jet lag or anything, so...
I still feel like when I get up in the morning, I still feel like it's 4 in the morning instead of 7. Which... It's getting better.
You're going to have to fight that.
My shift
tomorrow.
in the volunteer tent is 7:30 in the morning, which my brain thinks is 4:30. But I'm okay.
You're going to
And us going to bed so late is not going to help that.
I get 5 hours of sleep.
No, okay. Well, I
6,
guess that's
6 now.
Oh, is that sufficient for you?
Good. Well, normally, but after this week.
Made it sound like I worked you to the bone or something. Like,
no,
oh, you're here quick.
It's actually been wonderful this year. The previous time I came down, it was get here and go. Now I've had time to build some planes.
Yeah, that's right, because you were delayed last time.
Yeah, my flight got delayed.
We were sitting there going like, oh, is this plane going to get in time or are we going to have to leave without him?
Yeah. This year I got here several days early, built a couple planes. One I didn't really expect, but on a whim, threw together the Hexy Plus.
I'm so excited.
So big.
Yep.
And then my just kind of on a whim designed a quick build. I'm calling it my 10-minute plane.
We should have looked for a little stuffed bee. We didn't have enough time.
We did not have enough time.
A little stuffed bee to put on top of it.
Yes. Yep. I do have a couple pilots, though, I'm going to put on there.
Excellent.
They're referencing not enough time because we just got back from Walmart where we had
20 minutes.
Closing.
Yeah. It was a 25-minute drive over, 27-minute drive. We get there, we had 20 minutes to go in and grab groceries and supplies. So
right.
Yeah.
It's been great though. I mean, we had time to do things.
Yeah.
Even some of it was rushed, but I mean, we flew twice.
Yeah, we flew twice. We're almost gonna. If I wasn't having such a hard time with those LEDs and the main spar piece, we probably would have flown again.
Yeah, but
I had time to crash 2 planes.
You did.
Hey,
it was impressive.
Okay, actually, it's just 1 plane, but yeah.
I mean, granted, for you that doesn't take long, but
wow.
I'm just saying,
wow.
You're really good at it. It's impressive.
Wow.
But no, I got to prove my design.
He's not wrong.
So
it's okay. I suck too. I'm just coming out swinging.
To be fair, the video looked amazing. We clipped the
definitely.
last 12 seconds of that video. I mean,
yeah, you would have thought, man, that guy's really good at this.
Yeah, he's really good at being inverted.
The low passes with the prop cutting the grass.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
I was mowing.
It was real good. But, I mean, that was the first time flying that plane, right? Was it the Conchendo?
Yeah, it was a Conchendo.
You liked it?
Yeah, I really like it. I think I messed it up. I don't think I can bring it back to, like, stable working order, so I'm probably going to have to reorder a fuselage. But I think then that'll keep it fine.
It was a disturbing sound when it hit the ground.
It was a thud that we could hear. Yeah, I thought I had pulled it more level, but I didn't. So,
But the way it flew, I'd fix it. Yeah, definitely try to fix it because it flew well.
Yeah, well.
Well, do we want to do a quick inventory of what we did bring, ready or otherwise, and then we can just kind of see what we get to throughout the week?
There's a whole lot of foam in various shapes.
Yeah,
Right.
a lot.
Okay, that's it. Sums it up.
Done.
Good job, Jesse.
Thank you, Jess.
I built, call it my 10-minute plane because it was inspired from inspiration to glide test 10 minutes. It took longer to put the electronics in it and get it flyable.
Always does.
But that's my 10-minute plane for Flite Fest, and it works. Brought that and a spare and the Hexie.
You
Hexie
pre-cut
Plus.
one, made a speed build kit at your 10-minute
I did make a speed build kit. It is all straight lines, not even bends or 90s, just straight cuts.
It's awesome.
Nice.
It does fly really good. I'm excited for it.
I'm still in kind of a bit in shock of how it flew, so I'm looking forward to it.
What about you, Joe? Remember, bring the friends you like and the planes you don't.
Yeah. Well, let's just say that if I lose everything, I will have a singular plane that is still together because it's at the house. I brought everything but one, so I've got the Flurkin from last year.
Yep.
Need to reinforce the wing, but
I saw it flop a bit.
Yeah, so I got the Flurkin from last year. Got the FT Edge.
Still looks good.
Still flies good. Got the HRC 7 that Sam, forgive me, still has not maiden, so the plan is to get that up in the air this week. Got a Spitfire that needs electronics, but it's built.
Right.
And the Corsair.
Yep.
But
That's
that
pretty good gambit.
The Hangar Queen Corsair. No, it's a plane.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it might have been a satellite for a second. So the Corsair, and then you're letting me potentially use one of the spare Noob Wonders you had laying around. So six planes for me. They all need work, but
yeah.
Well, I guess I brought one of your Wonders as well.
Right, you did. You brought the Wonder Bread Wonder.
The Wonder Bread Wonder.
Yep. And then I brought one of the Noob Wonders that's all spiffied up. I also built a twin giant one. It's now new and improved, 30% bigger. It's 12 feet.
You still need one of those. Wow.
Yeah, I know. I really do.
For that.
So 30% bigger than the 300%.
30% wingspan.
So are we now at 400% scale?
I guess.
It's not scale anymore.
It's not scale. I didn't scale the fuselage. I left the fuselage.
Okay. 300% fuselage, 400% wings.
You got it.
At least the width, maybe not the chord length, right?
Yeah, otherwise it's the exact same construction.
Nice.
The only reason for that is we put a 3-foot section in the middle for the twin engines.
2.5 feet, 30 inch.
So
It's okay.
Rounding up. I mean, 2.5 feet. Come on.
No, but we needed a sturdy place to mount. Sturdy place to mount the twin motors.
I hope that didn't pick it.
I'm sure it did. If you're listening, go back and turn the volume up real quick.
Don't do that.
But make sure your kids aren't around.
That's right.
They won't get it.
Kids, earmuffs.
Yeah. So what else you got?
I got a couple circular planes. I brought the aircraft carrier because even though it's broken, I figured it should be a relatively quick fix. Some glue, borrow something to get it in the air. I don't remember. Kate, because our friend Ethan has brought his anti-aircraft gun. So I have a Kate. I want to go fly in front of it and have him try to shoot me down. So that's going to be pretty exciting.
What was just that round football-like fuselage
That is the 337. I brought the Cessna 337, which got mangled in the corner of the trailer.
It's not that bad.
The wingtip is completely mad. It's like a dog shoot.
But it didn't get into the control surface,
Right.
so just
No.
trim it evenly.
It's fixable. It's actually very
good.
fixable. But
I mean, I stomped on it a few times to make it all fit, but
oh, you're the best.
Let's just say that 9 hours of driving, the way we put everything in there.
I'm really impressed because that trailer shimmied.
lessons were learned.
There's a lot of bouncing.
There was a lot of bouncing, and a lot of the bridges that we had to go over didn't have smooth transitions, and that trailer would start catching a couple inches of air under each wheel, and we just kind of bob side to side, bouncing. And it was like,
It's a new trailer. We didn't have time to put shelves in it.
I didn't abuse your trailer.
I know. No.
Once I saw it start
that's
doing
good.
that, I said, let me start coming off the gas. When
No, you did fine.
Yeah.
I felt it when I was driving it too. I don't even remember what else. There's other things. I had a Flirkin mostly ready, but I left that there. What else?
What's the wing?
Oh, the Puri.
Puri, that's what it's called.
Right. So there's a balsa model. It's like a little, and it looks like two maple leaf seeds stuck together.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so it needed a control rod because if you look at the maiden video on my channel, it flies amazing until I do a hard yoink, and then it just folds in half and flutters to the ground beautifully.
As it was designed.
Kind of,
Maple
yeah.
leaf style.
Kind of. So I had a fiberglass rod, so I glued it in there, and it's sturdy as all get out. So I need to mount a motor, and it should be ready to go. So I'm going to get that in the air and have that fly. Probably put some lights on it and see if I can't join it as part of the night.
Oh yeah, we got to get some easy kits put together so we
Yep.
can go night flying tomorrow night.
I got the Micro Noob Wonder as an easy kit.
Nice.
I also have one of the ring planes as an... No, I don't. I left all the easy kit ring planes
There's
at
one
home.
in there.
There's a butterfly. The other ones, they're small motors, but they're not easy. They're actually like 1408 micro quadcopter motors. They scream, and they're fast. It's going to be fun. But anyway, that's a different matter. So it's a handful of things to do. I'm looking forward to kind of finishing up a couple of the... Because most of them have a step or two to do. So it'll be interesting. That's it. I mean...
Well, before we call tonight, real quick, my noob is going to show. I saw something at your place I hadn't seen before, nor ever expected to see.
Okay.
It was just completely sideways from anything I expected, and it was that all-in-one board that you had.
Oh, it was like a 80. That's like a micro all-in-one board. Yeah. Yeah, they call it. What are they? The brick.
The brick?
So yeah, it has DSMX protocol 2 micro servos on a board, all in the one thing, and it's got a motor lead that comes out, and you plug this little tiny motor on it.
So for clarification, so that you know
It's a micro nut ball.
Yeah, it would have been. It's perfect for a nut ball. That's what you had it on, but it has 2, for lack of a better word, servo / actuator.
Yeah,
but it's like slide servos on each. It's got 2 of them, and it forward and back, and that's your servos. And
yeah,
you say it serves as a receiver, and then I guess your battery plugs up to it, and then it drives
a motor.
the motor.
Yep, and you can buy them in a couple different ways. Most of them will run a brushless, and they also have extra plugs. They have 2 built in. They'll have like extra plug slots for if you want to add 2 other and they run like 2.5 gram servos, so it's super tiny stuff, very lightweight.
And just in case, because
That's the kind of thing you got to keep close or you'll lose it.
yeah. Oh, I found my Aura, by the way.
Good.
My Aura board. I did not expect to run across it.
Very nice.
Oh, thank you. So you said those were like $50?
Yeah, 45 to 50, depending on where you get them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not cheap, but makes it simple.
They're not cheap, but really the the cheapest receiver I would buy consistently is my $15 Fly Sky or FR Sky, whatever those things are. I get
Right.
And then you've got what ESC, 2 servos. I'm not saying it's going to be great.
No, cost-wise, it's equivalent to what you pick up in general.
Yeah, and it's super tiny and all in one.
And usually runs off a single cell.
I just thought it was cool.
What do we finish up with? What we're looking forward to this Flite Fest, or if anything in particular? Joe, you have anything?
Aside from what I say every time, which is flying more than I did last year, meeting more people.
Okay.
I enjoy meeting anybody, whether it's our listeners or just random people here.
Good. So if you came up and joined us, then awesome. Jesse, what about you?
I said it earlier. I've already done 80% of what I wanted out of this whole trip. Come hang out with good friends, build some planes, do some flying. I've done all of that already.
Right.
Here on site, I want to do more, meet all the people around. All the people we've done on the Discord channel, I've seen on video only. I'm going to see them in person.
Well, you got to meet Brian.
Exactly. And as you said, fly more than I did last time. I think my first year here, I did all the talking and the volunteering and 7 minutes of flying total. I'm going to beat that this year.
Yeah, 7 minutes. I'm going to time you, though.
Okay.
For me, I'm looking forward to, again, same like you, Joe, meeting all the people that we've been talking to throughout the year. And I'm looking forward to seeing how much more ridiculous the twin noob is from the standard noob, which that'll be exciting. And I got a buddy, Kilroy 07. He brought a very interesting plane that he's been having in the works for 2 years now. He started working on it last year. It didn't work. Like, he didn't quite get to finishing it. And this year he's ready to maiden it tomorrow. So I'm excited to see it go up.
You briefly showed me a picture of it. I was driving, so I didn't get a good look at it. But
it's a twin internal motor manta ray or something. It's like a flying wing thing. So it should be interesting.
It does remind me that I built a plane. I'm actually thrilled to see if or how
the Hexi
flies. I didn't expect to build it. It was kind of on a whim when I got here.
You threw it. It was such a great glide, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be fun.
Yes.
You know, people are going to be talking about that. People are going to come up and ask you, "Holy cow!"
When you asked me a minute ago what I'd forgotten I'd built it. It was kind of so much in a whim, and now I'm like, actually, that's already kind of my highlight. Just view of it, the responses I've already gotten.
Yeah, it's striking.
And if it goes up in combat, it will come apart spectacularly.
Oh my God, it's going to be great. That is a really great. Honestly, I might have been in almost all the other things and just build another one.
Well,
to put up in combat, so
it's an
easy
can't
build.
Get hit. It's an easy build. I will build another one if I need to.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so.
Cool. All right. Well, sounds like we have our work cut out for us and our joy lined up. So, all right, we'll talk to you guys shortly. All right, it's night 2, and it has been the first of many amazing days here we're going to have. So what do you sum it up as, Jesse?
It's a good day one. Real good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the first day, get up early, very early for me, doing a volunteer shift at 7:30.
Right. Which in Portland time is what, 4:30?
4:30. I'm mostly used to the time.
Yeah, I think so. You seem to be.
But sleeping outside in a tent, the sun comes up, you just kind of wake up.
Yeah.
And so it really wasn't too bad. Really wasn't too bad at all. And helped out a lot of people in the build tent.
Okay.
Great time doing that. And started flying the Hexi. And frankly, I didn't even really think about the attention it might gather. I just thought it'd be a fun plane to have. But everybody seemed to love that plane.
It's an eye catcher.
And they're like, how does it work? Oh, you only have 2 surfaces. You get all the questions.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really kind of wanted it to fly.
Yeah.
So on the way out for the maiden flight, we ran into Ready Board.
Right.
Like the main people coming out, and they loved it because I just made it out of the Dollar Tree board. Nothing fancy.
Which I learned some things about them. They're here to do stuff. We won't talk about that because it's a secret.
Yeah. But they got a kick out. The plane I built.
They were excited to see your plane.
Very quick, very easy, very eye-catching, and it still had their stickers on it. So they took pictures. They loved it.
Yeah.
And that was fun.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, now I really hope it flies.
So if you're listening, send in comments or questions you have for Ready Board. Because there's a very good chance in the near future we will have them on our podcast to talk to them about everything foam board.
They were good people.
Yeah, they're really good people.
They must really like what they're doing and enjoy seeing what we do with it.
Well, I think it's upped their sales significantly, is my guess. I know
like it,
crafters use them for all sorts of stuff, but this has kind of opened up a whole new market, I think.
I think so.
A little bit wider than it already was. Like, it was there, but it wasn't big.
But so, after that, then maiden flight. It was pretty tail heavy, but controllable.
Mm-hmm.
And it's flown 5 times now, I think. And each time it gets a little bit better. One landing, I had to put it down hard to avoid somebody who ran out on the runway.
Right.
And I broke the tail off.
That was disappointing.
Actually worked well because I needed to bring it in closer anyway to get my center of gravity forward.
Mm-hmm.
And
so you turn those lemons into lemonade.
Yeah, it's a prototype. It's made to be iterated on. And I think my favorite flight was the one you tossed. And
is it the one I tossed badly or the one I tossed well?
Well, you've tossed it several times, but what's funny, the way you tossed my airplane, this is a giant box kite looking thing, and you toss it faster than it flies. So it's like you let go of it, it slows down.
Yeah. with the throttle on.
With the throttle on. It's not a fast plane. And you gave it a good chuck, and then it's like, okay, we're flying.
Yeah, okay, we got it. I just didn't want it to end up in the beans here in the corn again.
Then the next time, I think, is when granted, they're hanging loose, but one of the servo wires caught on you somehow.
Yeah, either caught on my head or my hand or something as I kind of made an overhead chuck, which was not kind of how I do it normally, but... And then, it caught, and I ripped one of the servo connectors apart.
And it already only has 2 control surfaces. It's an
A-frame style.
A-frame style,
yeah.
So it's Elevon, I think they call it.
Sure.
But A-frame. Anyway, it was still controllable with one. I could only make right turns or left turns. I can't remember which it was.
You were not an ambi-turner at that point.
And it could almost go straight because I had to try to keep the nose up, which meant I was using that control surface, which also made it turn.
Right.
It came back. It landed in one piece. Fairly close. Took some effort.
Right.
I was surprised it flew at all. But that was great.
Right.
It's such a slow, floaty plane.
I know.
It's still tail heavy. I think I need to sleeve the nose, make it a little bit longer, and then I'll be fine.
Okay.
I was going to put lights in the hexes and do that as my night flyer.
Right.
But I kind of wanted to save it for tomorrow. It's made of the paper foam. I didn't want it to melt in what I expected to be very high humidity tonight.
It turns out no.
Thankfully, it didn't come.
The answer is no, now we know.
And so instead, I got out my 10-minute plane. I need a better name for that. But
no, 10-minute plane sounds like a really good 10-minute glider.
10-minute glider, because to make it a plane took another 20 minutes.
Right.
Still pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I bought a very well put together kit for lights. It's $20, 4 meters of 4 different color lights. Well, 1 meter of each color. The plug to make it all work. And I had lights on my plane, and I did my first night flight.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun.
And yeah, each strand was like white, blue, red, and green.
Yeah, and he said he would swap out whatever colors I wanted. If like want 2 red, 2 green. He'll swap out whatever you want.
Oh, okay.
For no additional charge. And,
awesome.
But yeah, 1 meter of each color. Plugs into the, you guys probably already know this, but I didn't. It's the first time doing it. It plugs into the balance lead on your battery and it works.
Right.
Very simple.
So it's either, at that point it's probably a 12-volt LED.
Yeah, they're 12-volt system.
And they're bright.
Yeah, very nice.
But they're, which is cool. I don't know. They look really good, and they helped you tell left from right, top from bottom, the way you put it on.
Mm-hmm.
Because yours is a triangle plane. Your sides only face down, and you put the other ones on top of the wing, so you can only see the other colors when you're looking at the top.
Yeah, I did do it for orientation.
Yeah, it was great.
I have to admit,
Did you have a hard time with that once
No.
you put it on?
No.
Okay, yeah, I didn't either.
It was very easy to put on, very easy to see which way it was going.
Yep.
It was a little disconcerting. There's one angle where I can't see any of the lights.
Hey, if you want to see what this looks like, I'm gonna post a video to our YouTube if Jeff just is mine.
No, I don't mind at all.
Okay, so we're gonna post a video to our YouTube to show you guys what that looks like. It was excellent, and honestly, if you can find one of these, it's worth. It made that simple, didn't it?
Very simple. I mean, it was on. It's got a sticker back. You literally stick it where you want it.
Right.
And every 3 LED, you can cut it to length, and they still work.
Right. And you can reposition them, so you can kind of set a bunch of them up and connect them.
You could use this kit and solder and wire and do all the fancy stuff, but you don't have to.
No, you don't.
I put a length down each wing and the other 2 colors down the fuse on either side. And that's all I needed.
Nice. Yeah, and you flew well. It looked like it was fun.
looking,
and you were up there with like 5 or 6 other people doing the same.
Yeah, I
nonsense?
didn't really think it through and went out into the busiest cluster of people at the beginning of night flying. And there were some close calls, but that was fun. I enjoyed it.
It's part of the fun. Nice. Yeah. And then we, let's see, I got to meet up with a bunch of people that I saw last time. And get to see here every year. And I think that's a big thing. I think what a lot of people keep coming back to Flite Test is they get to see the RC flying family that they only get to see once a year.
That's part I didn't mention. The people are amazing. And I've met so many people I've seen only in the Discord meets and finally see them in person. You
got to meet Larry Hederschmidt.
Yes.
And his family from the couple podcasts ago. You got to see them. They're all doing their own thing. They got the tent right next to the build tent. They have their own build tent set up. It's a pretty awesome thing.
It's a good setup.
They were able to help me out. Thanks, by the way. I feel like I'm dropping a bunch of names, but there's a bunch of people.
I remember a bunch of names. I don't know which name goes with each person sometimes.
That's okay. I can help you with some of those.
No, I think it's all right.
Right. And I think we were talking, was that Noah we were talking with at the end of the night? We're talking about, we ran across as we're walking back through one of the build tents. Mm-hmm. I think it was working on a big 3D plane that was all foam board. And it had probably the biggest, I thought I bought a big motor. I was wrong.
Oh, that plane.
He had a 65cc electric, equivalent motor with a 24-inch Zor prop. I don't know what 24 by what, but the plane is 8 foot by 8 foot or 8 foot by maybe 6 foot.
Massively overpowered.
Right, edge basically to do 3D flying. It's awesome.
It is.
It's awesome. Wait, did I mention it? Yep, it's awesome. It was really cool.
Forgot about that.
It was really cool to talk to him a little bit about the journey that he'd been on and creating kind of a bigger plane than he thought he was going to do.
Well, yeah, it's one of those things where you always you keep one-upping yourself. You're like, oh, but if I did this, and then if I did that, and now I need this, and pretty soon you've got a really big plane you didn't plan on having.
Right, and now you're going, how do I move this?
Oh, that's right, because it's all one piece.
Right. There's logistics involved at that point. And he was impressed by, there's a yellow Cub here, which I think if you look through some of the Flite Test videos from last year, it was here then, and it's flying again this year, so you see it. A big yellow Cub, and it's 10 feet by 8 feet or something like that. it's big. And he's like, that thing fits in the back of his truck. It folds down and just lays down in his truck. I'm like, yeah, I believe it. Like, when you plan it out, you can actually do all right. And I was telling him that the new Wonders that we flew last year, which were pretty big, comparable size to what he had now, like, that folded down to like a 5 by a couple feet.
I had to laugh a little bit at that big yellow Cub because on the tail it says 555%. So at that point, aren't you? That's a percentage of the Flite Test Cub.
Right.
At that size, aren't you a percentage of the real thing? And just shouldn't you put the other number on there? It's like a half. Actually, it's more than half. It's like
55% regular Cub.
Yeah, 75% Cub. I don't know.
Yeah, 25% real Cub. Yeah, I don't know. That's funny. I guess it answered the question of, how did you do that? Well, I took a Cub plan and
Exactly.
scaled it up 555%. That's nice. But anyway, so yeah, there's so many really. What I noticed this year about the builds and the build tents, I ended up working the build tents, and I saw a lot more pre-built planes and I'll call common kit planes, like guinea pigs and things like that. That were going on, and a lot less of the weird, squirrely, what in the world is that? There's no way. And I think that's part of what people are liking about your Hex. The honeycomber, or what do you want to?
We haven't.
You're going to have to come up with a title
something
and probably put it on it. But
yeah, you
anyway,
really want to make plans of that.
we're
going to.
It's happening. Okay.
I agree.
But I think it's when they see that they're like, oh, that's the stuff it's what we enjoy about doing.
It's early still. We have to remember. We just did Thursday.
Is it? Really?
And I think some of the wild ones will come.
Right.
But I agree. I wasn't here last year, but the year before, and it was a lot of the just kind of like, you sure that's going to fly? Or are you sure that's a good idea?
That doesn't look promising.
I've seen a few more families than I did the first time.
Yeah, there's a lot of families.
With a lot more, like you said, pre-built and even just the general kits.
When you saw me, I'm just kind of hanging out, and people come up to me and start talking to me because they remember me from the STEM tents years prior.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, yeah, hey, check out what my kid's doing now. And they're showing me they've advanced into the bigger planes, and they're really kind of moving ahead with the hobby, which is really exciting to see.
That must be a really good feeling to give them that first taste and then see where they go with it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's part of what I wish I was in the STEM tents, but the STEM tents are doing really good. So they need more help in some of the other areas, so that's fine. Plus,
it's nice to do other things.
We've been we did each a small shift today of one more small shift, and then that means the rest of the time is ours.
Is it more popular this year than in previous years? Because there are more days, but there are also many more volunteers, or at least our shifts are shorter.
Yeah, there's more volunteers.
So
I don't know if it's more popular. It's tough because I feel like these big build tents keep getting bigger.
Yeah.
So it's tough to
Those
tell.
tents are big.
Yeah, it's tough to tell how many people are in it, right? Like, I feel like it used to be the build tents were like 2 tables on each side, and now they're 3 big tables. Not just 2 tables, but 2 big tables.
2 rows of 3 tables. I mean,
right.
That's hard to visualize, but it's a massive tent.
Oh.
And then there's another smaller third tent as an overflow.
Well, that's actually for classes.
Which is officially for one class at 3:00. So
right. Yeah. So otherwise, it's pretty much open, fair game. And then there's the STEM tent that's the kind of mirror of it. Yeah, they found a formula that works here, and it works really well. You got to do some night flying. I'm glad I got to be there with you. Got to catch up with a lot of people. I got one plane working today, and we flew it, and it was unreasonably squirrely.
Yeah.
Because it was okay. Like, everything looked like it was okay. All I can think of is that something is spongy.
That was the 337, right?
Yeah, 337.
And its wingtip got a little
dented
in transportation.
I don't think that ruined it, though.
But I don't know if it's gaining a little extra lift or what, but The first
I
flight
expected
was
it.
wild.
I expected. So what I found is that finding an equilibrium with it was hard.
Mm-hmm.
And usually you can kind of like, okay, well, if I keep turning left a little bit, like, oh, I'm okay. Like, this will fly, okay. And it seemed to kind of shift around. And I don't know, maybe there was internals that kept shifting that I didn't realize, like a battery is moving around or something, or I don't know. But
the first
like,
flight
it's been
was
a good.
great, though.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Explain the first flight.
I've got a very clear image of we're going out there to fly this 337.
Yep, the Skymaster 337
a little short on time.
is like
I feel.
a big Cessna
Yep.
with twin boom going to a tail, and it's got a motor in the front of the fuse and a back of the fuse.
And the first toss was, even before we got to that, the rubber bands were failing.
They were old. Yep.
And so then we're okay, we'll just try with 2 rubber bands.
No.
And it went.
It went.
It flew.
It did.
But I could see the nose of that thing falling further and further below the wing. And I'm like, please land. Please land. You need to land now.
The fuse was like bouncing around.
It would porpoise,
Yeah.
but not because it was out of balance, but because the body was bouncing under the wing.
Right, and the angle of attack of the wing was changing as it moved.
And
it was terrible.
you got it back perfectly.
I got it back exactly how I wanted. It was flying somewhat predictably, which was crazy. And then we got back.
And we got more rubber bands.
And then we tried it again, and it was almost squirrelier, which was weirder.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
You trimmed it, and then you did have a good, solid flight.
I did have a pretty good flight. I was able to use most of the battery, so I was pretty happy with that. Let's see, we got... I almost have the Dragon 2 back up and running. I had a BEC issue, which I was going to solder tonight, and then ran out of juice. But yeah, we got to spend time with the friends. You know, you got to meet some of the guys that I call good friends here. That I think you may have met in passing last time. And now you've spent time with some of these guys more over the years, so you know Tony and you know Brian and some of those guys. So we got to spend some good time with them today. It's been a good day.
It is day 1.
Yeah, and hi, Martha. We ended up, she was the one who videoed the Noob Wonders last year. And we got to see her again today and kind of catch up.
Excellent.
But yeah, it's been a good day 1. I'm looking forward to day 2. What about you?
Oh, absolutely. I don't have a volunteer shift tomorrow, although I might just poke my head in and see if help is needed.
Right.
And I'm going to fly more.
Yeah.
I've got my 10-minute plane that works well. I toned down the throws, which scared me when I threw it for the first time tonight, because I'd forgotten I toned down the throws. I'm like, it's not responding. I'm going to put them back up to near full.
Nice.
Nobody else will be able to fly it that way, but I expect it, so it'll be good.
It's not their plane.
It's not their plane.
That's it.
I like to be able to do a roll with no ailerons. That's just cool to me. And
all right, we'll be doing. I guess we'll be doing more of that tomorrow then.
And I've got one ready to build again if you want to fly it. I've got one. I've got a speed build kit. We could make another one.
We could make another one. I've got a motor system ready that I was going to
You
put
gonna
on
put the 50-50 on it?
What?
You gonna put the 50?
I've got a 22.7. Oh my god. No. I mean, maybe. If I have the prop for it, maybe.
I've got more engine than that thing needs.
It's
more
ridiculous.
motor already. So
we need more cowbell. All right, guys. I think
it's tired.
Yeah, it's time to get some sleep. Good night, Jess.
Good night, Matt.
Good night, listeners. So we are on Sunday afternoon. We're driving back from Flite Fest. It started to rain in the morning a little bit. I think most of the camp kind of packed up.
You got to back up. We didn't record yesterday. Right?
Oh, man. Right. Yeah, let's talk about what happened yesterday.
We got catching up to do.
Okay. All right, Jesse.
Well, I don't know what happened.
No. We haven't recorded since Wednesday night.
That's not true.
No, you were somewhere else.
You went asleep or something.
No, he was still at campfire something.
Yep.
What?
We left you eating dinner, and
yeah, you were with
you stuck around.
Brian, I think.
Brian.
Yes.
When we left early, then we recorded.
Y'all did what?
Well, you were nowhere to be found.
We were going to
I
bed.
ran to town. And then when I came back, y'all had left.
No, that's a different night.
Different night. That did happen. But it wasn't that night.
That was the only night I wasn't in camp.
I'm just saying, was it Thursday night? Thursday night we recorded.
Yeah, we had all gone to dinner or stopped by. Yeah, we found you. We were hanging out with Brian. We had gone off to some houses.
I should have recorded then.
And then we got up, and you're like, "I'm gonna hang out for a bit." That's all we saw. That's all we saw of you. We went to bed before you came back to camp.
Yeah, I ended up.
You were having fun.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I was hanging with Uncle Rara, and then promptly fell asleep in his chair.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah, Brian had to kick me out of his camp. We may have to hold off on this now with the rain. I don't know how.
You might want to turn on windshield wipers. They help a lot.
Well, debatable.
Overrated.
They're overrated. I don't know how much the mics would pick up that rain.
It's what it is. Welcome to the trip home.
Yeah.
Ohio has spotted clouds of rain.
So, briefly, what did y'all talk about on Thursday night? Just bring me up to speed.
I don't know.
Happenings of the day, what we were looking forward to the next day.
Okay.
Yeah. Things we saw, like big, what people were building or something people were getting excited about.
I think it was our experience of being in the build tent.
Mm-hmm. So how was your experience with doing shuttle?
Same as it always is. Getting to see new people, see some faces I recognized, and just carting them around. People being very grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that long of a walk, but in that heat.
In that heat, it's rough.
It's a long walk all of a sudden.
Yeah. And as the week went on, more and more people were willing to take the shuttle out.
Yeah.
Just to save some steps. And there's a couple people I shuttled out and in and out and in.
Yeah.
You know, go and drop a plane off, pick up another one, bring it back in. So
that's a great service to have.
It really is. That's something that Flite Test is doing quite right there.
Yeah, and there was one thing about that I know Eddie wasn't happy about, and that was that one of the 2 6-person carts didn't have a canopy.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I had that one on Thursday, and I cooked.
Right.
And then that one ended up breaking down. But I think in the future he's going to make absolutely sure, or whoever, because Eddie's talking about maybe stepping back a little bit.
Okay. Well, I don't know anything about it. I mean, I imagine it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
It's a lot of responsibility, and
it seems to be a lot of work leading up to, and then like the day of, and then once the day of kind of happens,
it's in everybody else's hands.
Right. Then he
not
can
entirely, yeah.
He can back off and then go into problem solver mode.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, it's good. Good that your shifts were, decent.
Yeah.
I feel like the build tents were more subdued than they usually are. Or than they have been in past years.
The high heat and humidity might have had something to do with that.
It might have, yeah. Yeah, we had no shift on Thursday. So what did you do on Thursday?
We had no shift on Friday.
Sure, that's the day.
That's the day.
Yeah. Well, I thought I had a shift on Friday, so at one point I went and took a nap in my blistering tent. Just slept in a...
Do you just hate yourself?
Well...
I mean, dang, bud.
Yeah.
Like, you would have been better just laying out under the canopy.
I know.
On the tables or something, so the ants wouldn't get you much.
But the mattress was softer to the ground.
I guess.
But yeah, I was laying in a pool of sweat.
Oh, God.
What happened Friday?
Well, I know Flite Test had their camera crew running around. It looks like they're filming some sort of TV special or something like that. We've got a lot of rumors are going around about what it is. Sounds like it's some sort of docu-series on, I guess, Flite Test.
Yeah, it sounds like a Flite Test series.
Right.
Probably be a year or more before anything is really happening with that.
Right, so And, you know, every time Josh went around and commented on somebody's build, which the airborne aircraft carrier was one of them.
Oh, did he come by and talk to you?
And he's like, oh, what's this? I'm like, it's an airborne aircraft carrier. The idea is to do all these things. He said, I was hoping to get this in the air and actually have it fly, but anyway, I said I had an accident. We just sort of, yeah. But the goal is to get it to 3 times the scale so that birds here can land on it. And he's like, oh, that would be awesome. Brother, you need to reach out to us as you get a little bit further along. You need to tell us how this is coming. Don't forget to write articles. We watch articles. I was like, oh, okay, that's good to know. And he goes, and then support at flitetest.com. Let me know. Tell me how it's going. I said, okay, bud. We'll see what we can do. So in the meantime, I don't know how much I'm going to get this done. I got another big one over here. And he's like, oh, cool. Well, and off he went, you know?
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. And they talked a lot to the flying llama corn.
Yeah.
It had a bunch of balloons all over it, which was kind of like a quadcopter, I think.
It's something like that. I'm not sure it made it off the ground.
Or was it more like the house set up where there's a couple props and pushing it around?
I didn't get a good look at it. I walked by it a number of times.
It looked like it had 2 props on the end of a yoke kind of thing around its neck. And
yeah. So there was that. There's a couple other really beautiful people put together some really good looking planes.
Yes. Did you see that propeller plane?
Yeah. That was Nicholas Reams, Rehms. And he developed his own flight controller board for VTOL, which I actually have one of, because one of my builds that I wanted to build was going to use that. But one of the last couple things he did on YouTube was, what if I created how do I create an efficient lifter, right? It's like, well, most of the propeller's energy is used to pull the plane through the air, and it creates lift, but what if it's on a propeller? And so he created this stabilizer for a propeller with propellers to turn it through the air. And that got crazy. That thing was huge.
It was huge. I can't imagine it's at all efficient.
I know. I mean, there's no way. But the first go was it was in some high wind, because that Friday was pretty high wind.
Yeah.
It had, I think, 4 or so
vanes.
Props per vane, which there were 4 of.
Okay.
And it had a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
Probably took a lot of power, but it was stable in the air, which was impressive in itself.
Right.
Didn't stay in there very long each time, but it was fun to see.
Yeah, it was really fun to see. So it had like a post. Think of it like a top. You spin on like a little stand, and then it took off from there.
Yeah, I saw it in the final combat.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of combat,
it was in the Friday combat as well.
I didn't see it in the Friday combat.
Yep. Yeah, it was there. It kind of went up, and then it weather vaned towards the direction of the wind, and then it sort of blew back away because there was a little bit too much wind, I think. So
I don't remember which combat it was. If it was 2 o'clock or no, it must have been the 2 o'clock. But I flew the Flurkin in combat.
Awesome.
Well, you were there. You were spotting me.
I know, it's still awesome.
Okay. Didn't take anybody out. Somehow picked up somebody else's streamer.
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
On my left wing. And that was problematic.
Yeah, because, Flurkins don't have a rudder.
No, they don't. And I didn't... First off, it was a pretty decent-sized streamer.
It was. It was probably good 25 foot long, I think.
And
20 foot?
You know in theory that a streamer is going to add drag, but you just don't realize how much.
Right.
I could not make a right-hand turn worth anything. And that took me out of the fight for a while, as I was trying to...
You were just fighting it to stay in the air.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you said, oh, why don't you just turn left?
Why don't you go with it a little bit?
And it's...
Rather than fighting it.
Well, so, depending on where I'm standing on the field, I have a comfort of the direction I want to fly. Because I like to see the turns at a distance when I'm setting up an approach, and not have the plane coming at me and then turning to the flight line. I don't know. It's just what I was comfortable with. So I did turn to do the left-hand turns, and then eventually a streamer fell off.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. And then was trying to set it up to go back into my right-hand turns, and lost it almost out at the tree line.
Yeah, you like to be way out there.
I always like to be far away.
Way out there.
That was a
I'm surprised you didn't lose it in the woods.
That was a trip.
It sure was.
It's just my way of being away from people.
Being safer.
Yeah. Because I just don't have the confidence. But I was flying through the middle of everybody. Just I'm not a combat pilot.
There's your near sign, go. Was in the middle of all the things, and then you went around the way back.
And then I come back through the middle. I did once or twice, I got close to somebody, but that would have just been by accident.
Yeah.
But it got pretty busted up in that build or in that crash. So
what I enjoyed about that Flurkin is, you haven't said it yet, but that thing was heavy.
I forgot about that.
You put a bigger motor on it, it needed double the battery to balance, and it was a beast.
It had that little red engine that Muttley had sent.
Oh, right, yep.
And I decided to just put the C-Pack on it with the aggressive prop. What was it, 9x6?
Yeah, I mean,
that's what that.
Yeah, it's
more aggressive
pitch. Yeah.
And yeah, so with the C-Pack on the back, which is a heavier motor, heavier prop, the single 4-cell 2200 was not sufficient. And to Jesse's point, the only way to counterbalance it was to strap another 4-cell 2200 in the nose.
That's a lot of battery.
And don't forget, there was already a lot of lead weight up there.
There was already lead weight in the nose.
From last time.
From last time. You and Yankee got it finished up.
Oh my God,
If you had hit anything up there, you'd have plowed right through it.
Yeah, you would have.
And then Jesse loaned me a parallel cable so that I could just have double the battery capacity.
Pull the juice from both of them.
Yeah, since I was taking both batteries up there.
You might as well use it.
Yeah, she was a chonky bird. She was a chonky bird.
To its credit, it came back after 2 interesting launches.
Yeah.
And a crash in the field, repairable, and things stout.
Yeah. I've always think every time it's like, wow, I'm surprised there's not more things going wrong with this thing. It's really good.
But that last, because it's like I lost control of her or something. But it just split her in half.
Right.
Because I wanted to give that one away.
Yep.
But
yeah, you're on a rampage. You're on a mission to get rid of planes. This Flite Fest.
Well,
clear out some of your space.
I took every plane I had built except for the Vulture, the hangar's Vulture, and because I knew the Vulture, I was going to rebuild the power pod for it. So I took the Spitfire, the Edge, the 7, and the Flurkin, and crashed the Flurkin, brought home the Edge. I gave away and I took the Corsair. I gave away the Spitfire. Gave the Spitfire to Abram.
Okay. Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was
Abram Killian.
I didn't recognize him at first.
Okay. He's gonna listen to this, you know that, right?
I know.
Okay.
But I'm just saying,
buddy.
At first, yeah, hey Abram. At first, I didn't recognize him. When we first went down to the build tents Thursday morning, he just came up to me and grabbed me.
Yeah.
I was like, "Hey, can you help me with a transmitter?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." You know, it took me a little while to realize,
that's the
you're from
that we
last
talked
year.
to at the beginning of last year.
Right. So, and watching their family, the whole event was special.
They were great. And by the way, hi guys. And what I loved is seeing them advance, because last year they were mostly easy builds, and they were just kind of exploring the hobby a bit. And then this year was like, all right, let's kind of graduate into some of the bigger birds, and learning how to use the bigger transmitters and things like that. So it was really awesome to see.
Yeah. So I gave him the Spitfire. That was a skinned Spitfire. It was the first of the 2 skins you printed for me.
I know, right? Yeah.
And so
it's a good looking bird. I'm a little jealous I left mine last year.
Yeah. So or the year before.
The year before. Oh yeah,
2 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
But so he's got that. I talked to his dad, Sean. You said his name was. Talked to Sean about it.
Sean and his wife Jen. Hi guys.
To kind of give him an idea of what was going to be needed and what the state of the bird was, and then little Abram was so excited. So looking forward to hearing that he gets that in the air. And I had loaned him my external module for the Radio Master. I don't know why his wasn't binding, because he had the same receiver I had.
I don't know.
Abram, if you are listening and you continue to have any problems getting that to pair, y'all reach out to us, and we'll see what we can help you with on that.
You can catch us on the Discord, and we'll get you a link to the product you need.
That didn't make it. Well, the internal should work. I don't know why it wasn't.
I don't know either.
And then Sasha got the 7.
Yeah, it was good meeting you, Sasha.
It was.
It's one of those guys we've talked to a ton on Discord. Finally got to meet in person, and he's not the only one. We met a ton of people that we've only talked to a couple times or chatted with on Discord. So it was really great to see a bunch of people. I ended up talking to Mr. Young, who was worried about us, and he has a really beautiful Canadian. Had. Sorry.
Well, he may have glued it back together.
He said he's repairing it. He threw it in a couple more combats, but I think at a certain point it wasn't coming home with him, kind of deal.
Well, what I saw was the last combat.
It was a beautiful Canadian colored, some red and white with Canadian flag symbols, New Wonder, and it flew beautifully. But his ESC caught fire.
Oh, was he one of those?
Yeah. And it like burnt up the whole top center of his plane. It was like,
That one's not coming back.
No, that one's not coming back. But it was awesome. But anyway, we were able to kind of catch up with him a little bit. And I caught up with him even later. He was running around with the remote control Winnebago, and he was just saying good words and stuff. We appreciate it.
Yeah, Mike was a good guy. I like him.
And that is an amazing Winnebago. It's much like if you see Peter Streeple standing on a Winnebago driving around, like it's just like that one, if it's not the same one. It was really cool.
And then the last of those, the Corsair, went to...
Did you fly it at all?
No.
The Hangar Queen just went to somebody else's shelf.
Yep.
Okay.
Maybe it'll fly.
She needs work.
Okay.
The wings had opened up.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't realize it until I picked it up.
Oh, man.
But when I was on shuttle duty, I swung by and talked to Dave Earsley.
Okay, yeah.
Minutes. He was sitting out with his neighbors, had a little boy, and I was like, you know what? Because the dad was talking about how he was the dumpster king of like dumpster diving and Flite Test or Flite Fest.
Right.
I said, would he like it? And so, took him over to the tent, gave him the Corsair. So, yeah, it was good. But I needed to downsize because I got to move. So,
yeah, no, that's fine. And what a great way to pass along the joy of the hobby, right?
I'm hoping, and if nothing else, they're happy for a few minutes. Then, if they crash it, it's no big deal.
Right.
If they never fly it, it's no big deal.
We can still look at it and go, just like when we were kids, we built little models that we hang from the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
Just enjoying them.
Yep. And then, throughout the different days, we spoke to a lot of people.
Yeah, we did. I can't even name all of them. There's so many people.
I couldn't.
Like got to meet a lot of brand new people, and got to see a bunch of some of our former guests, Denise Godas, for example. I really kind of reconnected. That's what I love about Flite Test. It's a lot of reconnecting with family, is what it feels like, our flight families.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does feel like a bit of a family reunion.
Yeah.
Just friends you've met online, from the Discord, you only know in text, you've never seen them. Some we've got on the Discord video, and some you meet there, and look forward to seeing again.
Right. And you're like, holy cow, that's, you just get to know, and you're like, whoa.
Well, and especially as you were mentioning, the young ones that do their first build, and then you see what they do the next year.
Yeah.
The next year, and how they progress.
You want to take a minute and talk about your...
Oh, yeah.
Your shadow?
Your shadow that you had with you for a while?
I'm not sure who was shadowing who, but on Friday, I met a wonderful young man, Connell, and he was just kind of starting to build. And
yep.
I was there to answer questions, and you were talking about, sharing the joy and sharing the hobby, and I was just sharing my knowledge and experience and watching and helping him build a scratch plane. For somebody who has not flown much,
right,
to attempt a scratch build based on something you've seen is impressive.
Exactly.
And honestly, the highlight of my week, Friday and Saturday, working with this kid, Connell. I know I shouldn't call him this kid, but just working with him. And
he was young. He was like 8 years old.
I don't know how old he was. I didn't ask. He's about my age. We think the same. We build the same things. We have the same fun hobby. And it was fun hanging out and remembering what it was like for me as well to be figuring that out for the first time and exploring why didn't that work and trying to change it and build a new plane. And I'm really excited to, as we mentioned, see how he progresses.
Exactly.
Next year.
He started out really just having a kit and wanting to build it.
Yes.
To then being redirected, because it was pretty hard, redirected to saying, hey, why don't you try the easy kits and fly them for a little bit? And, STEM 10 has, they will walk you through the whole thing.
Yes.
And, we'll get you set up with the thing. And he went out and flew that a bunch, and he's like, this is awesome. Well, I want the bigger plane. I'm going to make my own.
He took that easy pack into combat 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And I think I spotted one of them, and it was really quite impressive. Kept that thing up there the whole time, or most of it.
Right.
We lost track of it once because a plane crashed at the feet.
At your feet? And everybody in that area lost their plane. These are busy looking at their feet going, oh my God, I'm going to die. And then everyone, oh wait, my plane.
Yeah, there were several people lost their plane, lost track of it, and it went down somewhere in the field. And unfortunately, that one wasn't recovered that night. It stayed the night in the field, and someone brought it back to the lost and found.
Okay.
But by then, he had started a new project.
Yeah, I think he picked up a small Ep-pack or an A-pack or something, and was trying to. That's when he was trying to build a scratch build.
An A-pack with a scratch build. It flew a couple times, 2 or 3 times.
And then what I love is that once he tried that and he worked hard at it.
Yes.
And he had moderate success.
Yes.
Then he's like, I want better success. Your plane flight's really good, Mr. Jesse. Can we build your plane?
So I have.
Can I build your plane?
Yeah, pretty much.
And Jesse's like, you mean my 10-minute plane? I think we could do that.
Yeah. So we made probably a half-size one. And I didn't do much with it. I said, here's how I did it. Make it look like mine. And so I kind of built another one at the same time. So he kept looking over and seeing what I was doing. But he
followed along
really well. And he progressed in building and flying a plane more than I did in several months in that day.
Right.
So very impressive.
Yeah, and like the 3 days he was there, he covered 6 months of what it took us. It would took us 6 months to do. He was doing great.
But I love to teach. I love to hang out with people of like-minded.
Right. His mother was incredibly supportive, and I think what I noticed is that with those families that we just talked about, even the parents are like, you know what? I think I'll get in too. Like, that's not so bad an idea. This looks like fun. And so I'm really kind of curious to see how that pans out.
I'm wondering how long it takes for his mom to borrow his motor and transmitter and try to fly it around.
Yeah.
So.
All right, my turn, kid.
Yeah, we'll see. But
school season's in. You don't have time for this.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see. I'm curious to hear some updates. So, yeah. There were some very big builds.
There were.
There was the standard Stan or Tim or whatever they called it. Big long fuselage, giant wing. And one of the combats, one of the planes just went straight up near the core of the wing and just sheared the one half of it off. And it just like splintered and it just went down like a missile or like a bomb. That was great.
That's awesome.
And then it was rebuilt, thrown again.
There was the toaster.
Yep, the toaster plane. That was getting built right next to us.
Right across from our table.
It was Scott and Jack.
And we don't mean it looked like a toaster. I mean, it actually was a functional toaster at its core.
And it may have been the original toaster.
It was not.
It was not?
It was not.
Because he said he was able to get a hold of the original one from Peter, and it wasn't the original toaster that he bought, but I guess he bought one that was almost identical. Because it looked really close to the first one.
My understanding is that was not. If I'm speaking wrong, I'm sorry.
No.
But my understanding was he got the toaster from Peter Streetwell's underwater toaster marine thing.
Okay.
And that's sitting on a shelf at home or something.
Oh, okay.
And so you got another. Again, I think he's got another toaster, and that's what he was using.
It is windy out.
But maybe that was Peter's toaster.
No, I think it was at least, but I think it's the same style.
Yeah.
Because it looked really darn close to the one. It flew awesome.
Yeah, very big, fat wing on that. Lots of lift.
It was basically a giant old fogey wing. A toaster in the front middle, and two booms going back to a horizontal with two vertical stabs.
Kind of like a P-38 back end to an old fogey front end.
Yeah. With no
fuse.
No fuse.
And they were asking me, they're like, where should I put these booms? Where should they land? I'm like, I don't know, man. I mean, like, you just kind of take a guess. I said I would probably kind of key it in so it has a little bit of strength, because it's going to try to move, and if you can stop it from doing that. And then they put their motor pods right, and they matched perfectly on the front side of the boom.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, oh, man, it was like it was meant to be. I'm like, that's it, man. Glue it up, get it done. And that thing, that was so much fun to see flying in the air. It got chopped out of the air in a spectacular confetti-like fashion, the one combat. But they rebuilt it and they put it up again, and it was good.
The thing I love to see in these, especially in combats, or even outside of them, they've got, you'll fly the plane once, it's a normal-ish plane, but eventually by the end of the weekend, it's, we got a bit of parts from this, parts from that, and this will help it fly, and we'll tape that together, and, you broke your plane, can I use the tail? I'll put that on mine, and various bits and bobs.
A bunch of Frankenplanes by the end,
A bunch of Frankenplanes, yes.
Yeah.
And they still fly. Mostly. Mine was getting a bit soggy by the end of the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
But it was the same deal. I mean, both of them came completely untested. Try this, make adjustments, try it again, adjust some more. And it was a lot of fun.
So tell us what happened after the first, what was the end of the hexie? How many times did you glue the tail back onto the hexie?
Only, actually 3.
Okay.
So I think it flew 7 or 8 times.
Yep.
That flu's got some real big quotation marks behind it, but
it floated through the air.
It floated through. It's not friendly in the wind, or friend is not its wind. Wind is not its friend.
Wind is not its friend.
Woo. And it's a big box kite, is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So the first few flights were just trying to find its center of gravity, really, which is not as easy on that kind of plane.
It's not obvious.
Started getting close to it. I mean, it flew tail heavy fine-ish. I mean, I got it back towards my feet. I didn't have to hike across the field to get my plane. And one of the losing the tail was I dumped it so I wouldn't hit somebody that ran out on the field. Just didn't want to collide with anybody. So I put it down hard and it snapped the tail off, which is the weak point of the plane. The hexie has 5 hexagons on the front of it, 6 if you count the motor pod, And for 8 crash landings, it's unscathed. I just kept breaking the tail off.
Yep.
Which is just 2 strips of foam board. It needs some carbon fiber rod or something in there to keep it on.
Right.
So anyway, we kept flying that. I had the balance almost there on the last flight, the final flight.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept delaying because of wind. I knew it didn't like the wind. The thing is probably an indoor flyer. But we went out. Wind is picking up. And my friends are around. And I'm about to call it. Nah, this is not a good idea. And I said, oh yeah, you could do it. That'll be fun.
By your friends, you're referring to me egging you on?
Yeah, well, you
Joe,
were one of them.
No,
not me.
It was specifically you and Kilroy.
That was us.
Guilty. And, I have a strong enough will I could have said no, but I also realized it would have been fun.
Right.
And it flew.
And it was it fun?
It was a blast. It flew really well into the wind. It really did.
Yeah.
As the downwind turned, it killed it. All of a sudden, it had no wind over the wing because it was a heavy gust.
And it just dropped. It dropped like a rock out of the sky. I was like, how did that even happen?
And it was completely repairable from a 30-foot fall straight down.
I know, and I think the only thing that broke was the tail.
The tail came off again. It just needs that.
You repaired that tail so many times.
I did. But the servo linkages, everything stayed the same. The fuse, if you could call it that, unscathed. I'm really impressed with that. And I should have expected it, but didn't. It's the attention it got. Got there early. It was one of the first non-traditional looking planes.
Right. When we got there, it was almost all either pre-builts or kits.
Yeah.
And there was very little unusual things.
There were a lot of people who says, how does that fly? Or how could that possibly fly? And my response is, we did a glide test, and if it'll glide, it'll fly.
Yep.
So, just got to find that sweet spot.
The happy spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know we talked about the lights. Was there any evolution? I think you talked about taking off your lights and wrapping them around the front.
So my other plane, the 10-minute plane, it flew quite a bit. I was having some power issues. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't lose control, but I would lose my motor. And I think I was overheating the ESC. It was hot. It was inside the fuse. And so I'd get out and I'd lose power and I'd have to reset the ESC. And sometimes I could recover, sometimes I couldn't. That plane is quite durable as well. But I wanted to try my very first night flying Friday night. So they were selling a kit, plug and play, 4 different colors of lights. Mm-hmm. Stuck them on there. First I put the green and red lights on the top of the wings.
For left and right.
Left and right. And then I put a strip of blue and a strip of white down the sides for the fuse. I've never flown at night, and I quickly found I needed a few more lights, or placing them better, because there were a couple of orientations when I just couldn't see it.
Right, it was blocking the lights from the top, and it wasn't enough on the bottom.
Exactly. I could keep turning and hope I was going where I thought I was until I could see the lights on the top. But to see the lights on the top, I knew I was banking, and it was stressful.
Yeah.
And so I actually did that twice, I think, that night. And I think I managed to bring it back. If I remember correctly, I brought it back close enough I didn't have to hike for it. And then I got the bright idea to, it's a string of lights. I don't have to string them in a straight line. So I kind of went on the bottom of the wing for halfway and wrapped them up to the top of the wing for the other half. That was much easier to see, because then I could at least see the wings in any orientation.
Right. Yep.
And
tell if it was the left wing and right wing.
Yeah. So that one flew quite well until it didn't, which is the way all of the planes go. And I had to hike for that one, and that was funny because it's the middle of the night, no moon at this point, and it's got bright glowing lights on it. It's easy to find. So it's easier to find it than any time during the day, because you walk anywhere close to it, there's this big old swath of color in the field.
Right.
Got a great photo of that, actually.
Oh, did you? Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
That was the end of that plane, I think. It went in a bit hard and kind of scrunched itself, and it was late Saturday. Probably wasn't going to fly it again.
Okay. So I'm trying to think. Friday, I had a lot of people come by and offer support. We're trying to put the Noob together, Noob Wonder.
Yeah, talk about that.
That took longer than I wanted it to. But I mean, part of it was every time I'd be making some progress, you'd be like, oh, I'm going to make this, or hey, come out and check this out, or oh, can I get a spotter for this? I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, sorry.
And that's the way it is. I mean, you know, you either have like some of the neighbors were like, oh, I'm going to fly this, or like, oh, I want to see that.
Yeah, we were spotting and helping out, but also it's like, hey, I want to see that progress. I want to see it fly. I saw it get built. I want to see it fly. So we'd get interrupted.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say interrupted, but
it was interrupted. It was a happy interruption.
But yeah, I guess it's not negative. It's like, oh, this is something to go distracted maybe. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And I think like Tim had his, we'll call it the manta ray plane, his giant killer kraken.
Yep.
Is what he's calling it.
It's called Kilroy's Killer Kraken.
Kilroy's Killer Kraken, right. And so he was doing his maiden, and while we were kind of waiting, we had one of our listeners come up, and I'm blanking on your name, so I apologize, but he had his race car, Noob Wonder. He had drawn up with a red and black and white with a couple of race car numbers in it. And he's like, I'm going to get rid of this. I'm like, why would you get rid of this? This thing is pristine. It's beautiful.
It's a better plane than anything I flew.
Right? I know. He's like, here's the transmitter. Are you ready? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, no, I want you to fly some because I know you're building the giant Noob Wonder in there. And you're probably not flying a whole lot. I said, oh, okay, I appreciate that.
That was thoughtful.
That was very kind of him.
I must not have been there at that moment.
Well, you were helping Tim with the radio. I mean, you guys were deep in whatever it was. I think it was the SC issues and other things. I mean, Tim was on the ground. It was awkward. So I had to distract myself with a plane. So we flew that around for a while, and I was trying not to do. He goes, "Go ahead and do whatever dumb stuff. I'm not planning on keeping it." I'm like, "You really need to donate it to a kid or something." I mean, this is, don't get rid of it. But it flew great. I had a good time flying it. It was great. I ended up not flying my Noob Wonder. I think when I was about to just go put battery in it and see and fly it, like I realized the heat had let the elevator foam go. And I'm like, oh, that's another repair I'm just not going to do, I was exhausted by that point.
Maybe we should start switching. You and I need to start building a little slower when we do build. And start using like foam tack and stuff. That's not going to...
Switching adhesives?
Yeah, so that things aren't releasing when they get hot.
Well, okay, so the Gorilla Glue held. It was good. So I think you're right. You're onto something there. No, the foaming polyurethane glue.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Hot glue's great.
It's also hot.
Well, it's also hot every time. That was a great shirt.
Yep.
Keep an eye out for those.
Yep.
But I find that during transport, because of the distances, I have to transport mine.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm going up to see you or something, if you forget it, leave it in the vehicle, the heat gets to it. It was hot outside.
Yeah, that was the thing I noticed is the glues took longer to set.
They took a long time to set.
Because it was in the mid-90s.
Hot glue was hotter than it usually is.
Hot glue is hotter. At Flite Fest.
It was...
Yeah. Now, at Flite Fest, I would want to build a hot glue. Like, let's get this thing done. But if I'm building at home, like, say when I go to go build the A10.
Right. Using some urethane glue or foam tack.
Yeah, maybe I use something different.
Or foam safe CA.
Thank you, Lee.
Yeah, thank you, Lee.
Lee from Windcatcher RC. Shout out, since he loves that so much.
For all of your carbon fiber and RC needs.
There you go. He had some out of stock.
Don't talk about it.
Okay.
He couldn't sell it, so.
Oh, did you not? Were we not supposed to?
No, it's not a big deal.
Okay.
I was just being silly.
Anyway. So yeah, maybe we need to switch gluing mediums.
Yeah, maybe.
When we we have the time to spend on it. I got to watch an older gentleman build his first plane. He was building, I can't remember the name of the plane.
Older than me, older?
Older than you, older.
Oh. That's saying something.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was older than you. I forget what it was he was building, but it was a simple enough plane.
Okay.
What was this? I don't want to put a name to it because I'll forget, but it was simple enough. And I saw him over there watching the videos and had his earbud in and was slowly working on it. So I started checking on him like the Thursday and Friday, and the Saturday I didn't see him.
Okay.
But all Thursday and Friday he was working on that plane and slowly, making progress. So I'd lean over periodically, check on how's the build coming, how's this doing, and he was trying to figure things out from watching videos. And so I'd offer little tidbits, or here's what he's talking about, or here's how that's going to go. He's talking about peeling all this paper and foam and leaving this paper behind and this part. And I was like, what's going to end up happening is, and I knew where it was going, so I'd fold the plane up and show him how it was ultimately going to end up.
Right.
And then he was like, oh, okay. Then
okay, the gentleman behind us. Yeah, okay, I remember.
I just cannot remember his name.
That's okay.
And
I remember. Hi. You know who you are if
that's
you're listening.
Right. And so Friday, by Friday afternoon, he had gotten it wrapped up. And so we maidened it. And first time we maidened, crashed it. It went straight up like it was tail heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And he had only put a Velcro wrap for the battery security.
Right.
And so I gave him some Velcro, or Jesse gave him some Velcro because I couldn't grab mine quick enough. Good job, Jesse. And we got it back in the air, and he tried again. Still didn't work. I think he tried a total of 3 times. And he said, if I can't get it this time, then I'm going to put it in your hands and you're going to fly it. And I said, I am not that great. He said, no, but you can fly, and that'll tell me if it's the plane or if it's me.
Or it's what I need to learn, yeah.
Right. And so he ended up, the 3rd time as well. And so he hand launched it for me, and it was just it ended up just being that it was a very high lift plane that he was running a big, powerful motor on it. So I said, get it up and then immediately pull the power back and, get a feel for it. It's like anything. This was first Flite Test plane. I think he has flown balsas and such.
Okay.
But they're very light and they're very draggy and very lifty. And that one didn't need a lot to get in the air. And especially on a maiden, you have to be on the sticks.
Yep.
And reacting and understanding.
There's a very good chance that all the things aren't where they're supposed to be.
Right.
At first.
And unfortunately, even as much as you want to pull the throttle back because she's going straight up, you got to keep the throttle to her, pull it back a little bit, but you can't pull it all the way because you need that prop wash to have control. Mm-hmm. So I was able to get her up and fly her around for a minute and then land it, which I ended up doing a gentle landing in the beams because I was having a hard time getting her to set up the approach right.
Okay.
And I didn't see him after that evening. At one point I saw him carrying his stuff back to his campsite.
Okay.
But I didn't see him Saturday. But
okay.
Hopefully he had a good time, and I gave him some feedback.
Yep.
And I hope he enjoyed it. He seemed to be enjoying himself, just frustrated that the build videos weren't
maybe it's clear about where it was going.
Right, clear about what to do at each step.
Yeah, it's tough when you know how to build the things. You don't need all the instruction. Mm-hmm. But if you've never had it and don't know where it's going, you need all of them.
Yeah.
So it's easy to kind of forget. That's one of the things I kind of struggle with when I'm like, I want to make a build video. And it's like, okay, if I didn't know anything about planes, what would I need to know? Well, it's pretty tough to kind of unlearn, think about it from that perspective, yeah.
I dare say most of the planes that you build and would want to do a build video for are not going to be somebody's first plane.
I want to build Jesse's 10-minute plane. That's a perfect first plane.
Well, Jesse's could be a perfect beginner plane.
I may have to
Not
try.
most of yours.
No, that's because I've moved on.
I may have to try making a build video out of that. Got lots of comments on it.
I'd build it.
It is. I haven't counted them up, but it's like a dozen straight cuts. That's the plane. A few folds, done. That was my whole point. Get it to Flite Fest easy and quick.
You're so smart, Jesse.
Well, you know,
This is why we keep you
I had
around.
to. I had to come on an airplane, so I couldn't really.
No, it was
rebuild
necessity
anything.
that created the genius.
But also, it's sometimes nice to have a plane you can just grab and know it'll fly.
Yeah.
Until you've crashed it a few times, then you're not sure it'll fly. But the first times, it flies pretty good.
Yeah. Right. Did you ever get to fly the speed build version of it? The speedy version of it?
No, I never put any electronics in it, but it glides really well.
Okay. Yeah, it
you
does.
saw the glide test. So I'll probably build the speed version, which is just a trimmed down one without the...
I just remembered the one launch of the Hexie. I launched it faster than it flew. So the second it left my hand, it slowed down.
Oh, I forgot about the launches of those things.
Well, I bounced the tail section off the back of my head and didn't even realize it.
That was one of the tail brakes.
Yeah,
Yep.
and we talked about some of the other ones.
Yeah.
when there were other
The
recordings,
pulling
so.
the cord on the takeoff.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Oh my god. So let's see. Peter Streeple apparently was there, and because we weren't in that bib tent, we didn't really see much of what was going on. He built a triple-decker, three-masted triple-decker or something.
Is that what I saw in combat?
Plane thing?
It was a lot. It looked like it had 100 wings on it.
All the wings.
And so I'm sure he had a bunch of, as many people as he could. Just build as many of these things as you can. I'm going to work on the main fuse.
After that combat, I know many people, including my spotter for that one.
Right, and that was the last combat of Saturday.
A lot of people ran over and got souvenirs. Parts of that plane signed by Peter. That's a souvenir for a lot of those people that love his videos.
That's pretty funny.
So.
Ethan brought his. Okay, I think it's time we just take a moment and
so many stories.
Praise Ethan, because Ethan's awesome. He's a good buddy of ours. He's become a better buddy as we get to know him. He's awesome, and he's been working on an anti-aircraft gun since last year. I mean, and he really pulled it together this last one. And
I'm impressed.
It's impressive. It's really impressive. I think the hardest thing, the last obstacle he really needs to find solutions that are better for are probably the ammo, because that is the bottleneck, it seems to be. But it's supposed to shoot ping pong balls or ping pong ball sized ice chunks.
What if he just fills the ping pong balls with water?
It's its own mess.
Okay.
He did that, and he's done that, but yes, it's not so simple, sadly.
Well, the idea behind the ice ball, I was told, is that you don't have to pick them up.
Right. Exactly.
You just let them be, and then they evaporate, right? They melt and evaporate. So, anyway, so he was, he's built this thing, and he's trying to corral a couple young kids, because he built it for his nephews, who were like 10, to sit on a crank. And then, of course, you have to have a quartermaster who's kind of telling them who the crank when and what, and then fire, And so, and they're trying to shoot, and then, of course, they set them up next to the flight line near the combats, so you could shoot into the mass of combat and stuff. And they said that they managed to hit a couple times, which was pretty awesome. I mean,
That's impressive.
They might have, I think they hit, he goes, I think we got, our score is 1.5. Like, we got one ourselves, and, another one we got at the same time another plane was going through it. Like, they collided at the same time our ball hit that plane. So, we helped. So we got a half.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the kids were just elated. They were like, "Oh, that was the funnest thing ever!" And it is a lot of fun. They were in the zone when it was time for combat.
And not just the kids. I mean, that was a crowd around that.
It was a big crowd.
Everybody loved it. It was parked next to our campsite, and everybody that went by it was double take, at least.
At least, yeah. And I don't know, the Flite Test guys were really excited about it, and they were definitely fostering, like, what do we need to do to help you get this doing what it's supposed to do for as long as possible at Flite Fest.
Yeah.
So it was really cool, because I know Ethan was really worried whether or not that was going to happen, and whether he was going to be able to have it ready and all that. So he had a lot of hard work that went into that, and it seems like it paid off. And I'm so happy for him.
Congrats to him. He pulled it off. It worked really well.
Yeah.
I don't know what it felt like to him, but from the outside, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Every time I see the stuff that he's building, like every year, it's been yearly consistent.
Right.
Every year it's not like he just turns a new page. Like he enters a whole new chapter every year. So just leaps and bounds.
And the thing is he didn't just build the anti-aircraft gun. He had a like really giant scale Tupolev, like that 4-motor giant bomber, the Russian bomber. I mean, the thing's massive, and his was a 10-foot long fuselage with probably about 10-foot wingspan.
It was more massive.
It was huge.
Yes.
And he had it, and he has, like, I have to define my resources while I'm here, and I just don't think I can get this together.
Yeah.
Because I had too much to do, because I wanted to have this ready. You know, the referring to the aircraft gun. I'm like, but it looked so good. You know, like, and I feel bad that he wasn't able to really see it. He goes, oh, I'll bring it home and I'll go fly it tomorrow. And the great part is I won't have a timeline or any stress. And so I'm excited for him I can't wait to see the video. He's going to put out a video, I'm sure.
Do we need a bathroom break?
Nope. Do you?
I'm pulling in to grab something to drink out of the cooler.
Okay.
But
Jesse?
Since we're here, does anybody need to use the bathroom?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, I guess y'all can keep talking. I'll go grab a drink.
We can pause. It's okay.
So we were talking about Ethan.
Yes, we were.
And so he had Noah come by, who's Josh Bixler's son, and he's in charge of kind of pulling together a lot of the filming stuff. So, and he was like, "Oh my God, that thing's amazing! Let's get you involved in this." And of course, it's the 10th anniversary, so they had a full film crew the whole time, following everybody around. So he got some prime footage of this is the kind of things that get inspired at Flite Fest. And I know he's been working really hard and doing a lot of good stuff. And so it was really cool to see. And all I know is that one comment I heard, poof, and I kept seeing the puffs of air. I mean, I didn't see where anything went, but I mean, I could tell that the kids were working hard.
Yeah.
And having a good time playing. So kudos to Ethan, Mr. Muttley on the FT forums if you're there. Look at what he's put together. You'd be impressed. It's always something big, crazy, and it's almost always the bad guys in his mind. He's like, well, somebody's got to make the bad guys. So, yeah, give him a shout out if you see him on the forums or on our Discord or anything like that. Give him a big pat on the back and a big attaboy for doing such an amazing job on that anti-aircraft gun. I'm sure you'll see, and if he has anything to do about it, he will likely have an improved version next time.
Oh, no doubt.
I just hope he doesn't spend his entire year improving it, and he continues to work on some other projects too. No, it's awesome. And we got to camp with him and hang out with him a bunch, which was nice. So what else happened? So,
shout out to Kilroy for a nice breakfast.
Yeah, thanks. And then thanks for Brian and his family for the great meals. They were like, we have too much, and we don't want to go home with it. So we need people to eat food.
Everyone was very generous, and to all of you, thank you.
Yeah. That made it even easier to not have to eat our way through all the trucks.
Yep. Which, I don't know why you'd be eating off the truck. We had groceries.
Because they were on the other side of the site. I didn't want to walk that far.
Oh, bo-ho.
Yeah. That's how I felt.
Okay.
Did you see me on Friday? I was falling apart on Friday. The heated gun. I mean, I was done.
I know.
I gave up.
I know.
I was done with the hobby. Somewhere about 4 o'clock on Friday.
I think you were done with the hobby.
I was done with the podcast. I was done with the hobby. I was done with friendships. I was done with everything.
You were done with Joe, man. Joe just going around here like nothing's going on. I'm over here working on this wonder.
No, and that wasn't even it. And I know people were wanting to help, and I'm like, I don't even know how to have anybody help.
Honestly, that's why I stayed out your way.
You're fine. I know, and you're fine.
And periodically, I'd say, Matthew.
And there were occasionally things that you were able to help out. Yeah. I really do appreciate it.
That's what I've learned is the best way I can help you is to stay out your way and just remind you, I have hands. They are yours if you ask for them.
Right.
And just
I think you had your shift, and then I was starting to move the plane around, and Jesse was able to help pick it up, and we're manhandling the center section to get all the feed the wires through, because otherwise you'd be doing that.
I will say, I think the one point that you may have wanted to smack me was when you were like, I left the wires, I left the things, I can't do it. And I was like, what wire are you looking for? I'm looking for the wire, because I didn't know I was going to need like 18 feet of this. And I was like, what wire are you looking for? Power wire. For the battery? Yeah, for the battery. I need 2 of them. They got to be this long. And I reached in my box. I'm like,
you mean something like this?
I'm like, you mean these wires that are about yay long?
I'm like, oh my God.
I was like, where have you been for the last 2 hours?
Because I'm sitting there, I went over to the little RC store. I'm seeing, like, do they have any pre-made ones? And I go into the Flite Test store, and they don't have anything except in a power pack kit. And I'm like, that's not even what I want anyway. And I'm like,
what he was looking for was about 3-foot sections. Well, what I had, what I had were almost 3 foot.
Yeah, 18 inches, something like that. Just
of battery extender.
Right. Just XT battery size cable wire to another XT connector. Male and female, one on each end.
And I happen to have...
And you had the exact thing I needed. It was fantastic.
2 of them.
Because I knew at that point, I'm like, this is going to stop the whole project.
Yep.
Right here, dead in its tracks.
And that's been sitting in my box since I tore the C-duct apart. Because I wanted to run 2 batteries in the C-duct.
Right? Yeah. I know why.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It was.
It's a good opportunity to just say that, this hobby can be frustrating. And take a breath if you need it, but also don't forget your friends are around, and we're all your friends. Get on the forums, ask questions. I'm actually currently on the forum answering questions while we talk.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, I am, actually. And we're here. We might have a different view, or that part you need that you've been looking for.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And people are so friendly and willing to loan out. Like, I know we've said it every time.
Like, the whole time, I'm reminding people in the build tent, like, hey, guys, if you're frustrated, you don't know what, ask. Just, hey, does anybody have this thing? Or do you know how to do this thing? There's somebody here. And we're like, I'm not really sure. And, of course, here I am, completely forgetting that. Because I'm all upset, and it was also hot as all the things at 4 o'clock, and I'm tired. Yeah.
That's...
I felt like a little boy throwing a tantrum. It was terrible. I apologize, Joe. I appreciate your understanding.
We all do it.
We all need those sometimes.
But those build tents are amazing. People you have never seen or met from 3 tables over. You ask for a part, like 4 people will hand you one.
Right.
Or a tool or whatever. And they'll walk away, expect you to bring it back, because we do.
Yeah.
They're not, this is here, please use my stuff.
If it's what you would consider a consumable, like a prop,
oh yeah,
they're not going to worry about it getting back. If it's a control horn or something, you're really not worried about that. But if it's a tool or an electronic or something, they're going to assume, like you say, you're going to bring it back. But they're not going to come hunt you down.
Right, no, it's very, very friendly and giving people everywhere there.
Yeah, and by the way, shout out, thanks Tony for the proper hex driver, so I can get those control horns in a timely manner.
Oh, was that his?
Yeah, it was his. Well, so it was Frank, James Eastman's brother, had a set that was perfect, but it didn't have a handle. was one of those, just those bent angle ones, and it would have worked. Would have worked fine.
Because you have 100
threads later.
I have it somewhere.
Freaking box?
I have it somewhere. I have it at home. That's where I have it.
Well,
and then Tony was like, I got one with a handle. I'm like, oh, this is so much better. I'm like, thanks, Tony. I appreciate it. I'm like, dude, Frank, I'm sorry, but this one has a handle. And he's like, oh, yeah, use that one.
and speaking of giving things, I'm like, I'm going to start carrying SAE stuff now. I don't use it, but I'll carry it just because someone else might need it.
Right?
SAE?
Standard American.
Because everything I've got is metric. And he happened to have the only oddball English.
Because it was Dubro,
Yeah,
and they use English. Or standard. And it was like, again, and those control horns are freaking rock solid.
They're great control horns.
They're amazing.
Oh, and you're bringing the noob home.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Okay, so after I'm sitting there, I spent probably an hour just labeling wires. Like, this one's going to there, this one's going to, of course, I'm like, this CSC is not connected. And what happened was the connector was sanded down because I think Ethan, when he had it originally, just, it was one of those ones with a knob on the side because it's a proprietary deal. And he's like, I'm just sanding this off. And he did, but it made it a little loose. So it just came undone. And I was like, what in the heck? I'm like, fine, I'm going to replace this. I've got an 80 amp ESC in the other plane I had that I'm not flying anymore because it's being weird. So let me pull that out of there and I'll just put it in here. Like, yep, it can handle a 6S. So sweet, let's do this. And I put it in and it's all connected, but I had to undo all the stuff. And like,
You know what my favorite moment with that plane is, though?
What's that? Which one? 337 or?
No, that plane. The giant
Noob Wonder.
Noob Wonder, yeah.
Twin.
All the effort.
Is that the Boomin' Wonder?
Maybe. No, because there's no booms on the back.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the Speedy Wonder.
Okay.
We'll call it the Speedy Wonder. It didn't go much faster, but it was the Speedy Wonder. Because the Speedy Bee has 2 motors. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, anyway,
Sorry.
my favorite moment, honestly, I guess there's lots of good favorite moments. I've been here for a while this week watching this build progress and helping, and the moment you finished it 3 minutes before the last moment we could possibly fly it.
Right, like 8 o'clock was the big build release. And I finished the plane at 7, and we had to put a logo on it and get it ready.
But it's just after that logo got done, you got up and you're like, yes. And then the very next moment, somebody goes, are you going to put that in combat? And the look on his face, I mean, it just dropped. He waited a moment before responding, and then it was, no.
No, that's not happening.
I spent too much time on this.
Yeah. I sit and I'm like, if you spend 3 weeks working on something and you haven't even had a chance to use it, would you throw it in a combat to destroy it? And we're like, okay, fine. But it would be really cool. I'm like, yeah, it would be.
It would be, but I want to fly it more than once.
Right, exactly. So I was able to try to, and of course it's 12-foot wingspan, which is, what is that, half of the table groups? Like, they usually have 3 tables together, and that took up literally almost the entire of one of them. Pulled it out, got it out to the front line, and I have just enough time to do the what they call the crap check. You know, controls, surfaces, what direction are they going, are everything lined up properly, right? And I'm going, yep, left, right. I had made a quick change that I knew I had to make, and it was ready. The differential throttle was set, and then they started to let the big ones were going. He's like, yeah, we're not gonna let you get it out in the air with all the other big ones because it's untested. I'm like, I mean, it's a one. I mean, I've built this before. This is just, I haven't flown this one, so it may crash. Which to me, that might be spectacularly wonderful, right? But he's like, no, can't. I'm like, all right, fine.
I mean, I get their point.
I get it. I'm not happy about it.
No, but
I listen. That's okay.
I get it.
I pouted like a little kid.
Honestly, though, I mean, yes, it would have been fun to fly with those big other planes.
Right.
But you went up immediately after they landed. The crowd was all still there, and you had the center stage to yourself.
Right. Yeah. Like before the crowd really dispersed, but like literally the second the last plane finally landed, because it was doing hot dog stuff, and it finally landed. I'm like, okay, cool. And I just setting it up, and it started going around. People were like, oh, whoa.
You got oohs and ahs that the other ones didn't.
Well, that's because, so those planes, they're flying around like normal. So I'm way up high, but it wanted to climb really bad, very fast. And I'm like, oh, okay, I got to figure this out. And there's a couple reasons I think we figured out for it.
Yeah.
But once I kind of got it under control, I'm like, okay, cool. Now I'm on pass number 2. I'm going to bring it. And of course, poor Steve Niskoda, he's trying to take some good pictures. Like, Matt, you got to bring it closer if you want some good pictures. That's like, I can't. That's way out there. It was out near over the tree line, and Ben Harbor is behind me going, hey, Matt, you might want to, like, not have it over the tree line for your sake. If something goes wrong, it's going to be bad. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, because you'll never recover any of that. I'm like, yeah, I'm bringing it back. So we brought it in, and I started bringing it lower, and I started bringing it like normal flight level, and trying to bring it closer to the crowd. And then as it went on the back, I did a couple loops. And that's when I did the loops, people weren't expecting that.
Yeah, because you were just powering through those loops.
You know,
That plane looks amazing.
And it was like, oh, and I'm like, okay. I said, I'm afraid to do the barrel roll. Like, I know it can do it, but it's so slow. It is not a step rolling anything. I'm like, all right.
You made a big wing bigger.
Right. I made the big wing that already was really bad at rolling a little bit harder to do. So anyway, but I did a number of passes. I did a couple low, slow passes, lower, slower passes. And of course, as I'm coming out on the, like it's coming away from me and I'm turning around towards the back of the field, that's towards the sunset. Oh. So there's these beautiful silhouettes of it kind of coming up and around, and then, you know, it turned out really good. And I think everybody who was watching the giant scale 8 o'clock flight stuck around and saw our plane pretty much being the only really thing worth seeing in the sky.
It had the best light.
It had amazing light at sunset.
That video's going to be great.
Yeah, and Jesse took great videos. I'm looking forward. Keep an eye on the podcast YouTube channel.
Ethan recorded on my phone as well.
Okay,
yeah, there's going to be a few videos we can pull from, I think.
Yeah, so we'll be able to put together, hopefully, a really excellent video of
did you get a chance to tell Martha that you were taking off?
Shoot, I'll send her something.
Okay.
Yeah, our buddy Martha from last year was there.
Yep.
And she was hanging out with her boy, who was in it. Oh, I forgot to go back and talk to the... That's okay. I think I can be able to do that. She knows people who know people about 3D printing.
Oh.
Like, he professional 3D prints metal stuff for, like, the auto industry.
Okay.
And that kind of stuff.
That'd be convenient.
That would be nice to have. So anyway, I was also looking at making connections with, maybe we can get the Zor prop people on and talk about what it takes. Or maybe they'll talk about their motor systems. You know, why you use different things for different parts of the motors and all that kind of stuff. It'd be nice to have a professional. So we'll see what that pans out to do. I also got a name to contact at Flex Innovations for possibly talking through the manufacturing process that they have.
We got to meet the Adams Ready Board people.
Oh yeah, all the Adams Ready Board people.
That.
They were. I forgot about that.
That was the Bexy too.
Yeah. So we got the name of one of the people, and they're like, "Oh, we would love to come on and talk to you about that." Now, which reminds me, I've got to send him a picture of the giant New Wonder and tell him this is almost entirely Adams Ready Board, except for a couple
support structures.
Yep. That are the critical pieces, but this is an acrobatic capable plane made completely from Dollar Tree foam.
That was a fun chance meeting because I had a very fresh, unflown Hexie, which I threw together with the Dollar Tree paper covered ready.
For the Adams Ready Board from the Dollar Tree. Yeah.
But I didn't bother to take the stickers off, so every panel had their logo on it. So they loved it. I got some pictures.
And you're like, oh, it even has our logo on it. Awesome.
They're like, yeah, you made this with our foam, and it was just. I think they were impressed that you could do a lot with that foam.
Yeah, I don't think they really appreciated what.
At least that was my impression. Maybe they've seen it for years. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
they have I guess they have a craft specialist that they've kind of hired to put together videos on what you could do with it. Okay. And so they've seen some things, but I don't think they really understood the full depths to which you could sink.
Sure. It was just kind of fun walking up and looking. I looked up and there's 4 people in white shirts with that logo on it. I was like, wait, I know that logo.
So, yeah, it's for all of those people. There's a Zor, Flex Innovations, Adams Ready Board, 3D printing. If you have anything you think we should ask about those topics, we have, was it topic ideas?
Yeah, it's podcast show
Podcast show ideas in the Discord.
You'll find it.
Right? Drop us a little note about what you'd love to learn about motors, ESCs, propellers, and anything you want to know about the foam board, Adams Ready Board. Anything you want to know that you think we should ask them. We want to hear what you'd love to learn. So please drop us a line about that stuff because we're gonna kind of parse it and put it away because my plan is to reach out and make sure we interview every one of those folks that are there that we just talked about.
Yeah, and that's the goal. Mm-hmm. I don't want to promise that we'll get them on, but
I'm certain we're having Ready Board on.
I feel certain we can get them on
based on what the response that we got from their rep. He was pretty excited, like, oh yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, let's do that.
I'm going to say this one real quick. It's just because you were geeking out and having fun, and you started out great, and then you got very well, here's the problems with the product. I'm like, dadgum, Matt, you're just hammering them. But at the end, well, we do love the product. It's great. We use it. It's the only thing we use is that. But and then I said, well, hey Matt, don't you want to ask them? And you're like, oh yeah, we do a podcast. You guys want to come on?
They seem pretty on top of it too. I mean, the one problem that came up really was this batch that I picked up. That it was really hard to get the stickers off.
Yeah.
They had said they'd already fixed it. It's in the next run. So I mean,
awesome. You guys are great.
Exactly. Oh, good. I mean, I haven't tested it myself. I can't say it's fixed, but they thought they changed the formula and it's going to be different.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Yeah.
I guess they probably need to deplete what's there.
I imagine.
So at some point in the future, the Adams Ready Board sticker should be easier to peel off because, yeah.
My point is they noticed a need and made the change.
Yeah.
It sounds like they're really responsive to the Flite Test community.
Yeah, which is great for us because when we're doing these planes, we don't mind that there's a sticker on it. We get, hey, yeah, brand your product, but if I want to paint over it and do things, that's a different surface than the foam, than the paper, and so it acts differently, and you're going to see it in the finished product.
Right, or if you're wanting to light it up at night, the sticker is an opaque chunk in the middle of what you want to be something pretty uniform, right? So,
and I think that was primarily an issue with the paperback board from Dollar Tree, not the stuff that.
Yeah, nothing with the Flite Test board or anything like that.
I'm not sure those are individually stickered anyway.
I don't think they are. Yeah, because they're a separate thing. They're proprietary brand.
Right. You can't get them anywhere. So.
Yeah, I want to, but I'm excited to be able to talk to them just about how they developed the product and what their original purposes they thought were it was going to be, and did they ever expect it to turn into this mess?
Yeah, the different demands from different industries, different uses, right?
Yeah, I'm curious to hear it. I want to know more, right? It is the core of what we. It's the basis on which we design our planes from, right? So.
It makes me wonder if it's possible to get things bigger than 20 by 30.
That's part of what I want to talk to them about. It's I know Flite Test has these 30 by 40 sheets. Is it possible to get those? I mean, that would be amazing.
Not necessarily from the Flite Test formula.
No, through the dollar stores.
Yeah.
You get a bigger format of the same Dollar Tree foam. Nothing proprietary, just the same basic.
I'll pay that double size price.
Right, yeah, same here.
And even if they don't want to carry it in the Dollar Trees, because maybe there's not enough movement brand-wide, because we're not the only ones that buy stuff,
They say they have a hard time having stores keep it in stock.
Yeah. So even if it's just hey, Ready Board or Adam's Ready Board has a web shop where you can order something. I'll pay shipping if I can get bigger boards for bigger projects. Like you would, because to be able to build that new Wonder out of...
With a handful of sheets instead of 27.
Yeah,
Don't give away that whole
35,
episode
40s.
now.
What?
Don't give away that whole episode. You can wait and ask them.
Yeah, I know. We got questions for you, Ready Board. We're coming for you.
We could go down that rabbit hole for a while.
That'd be awesome. Anyway, no, it's just really cool. You know, and then of course we ran into, again, a bunch of old friends, just a bunch of people that we've hung with and chatted with. And, you know, the Texas A&M guys had come up with a really cool, they were using essentially the idea I also had too, which is using the Dollar Tree broom handles as the main support structure. And they 3D printed clamps to keep them so they're these rigid, they were the backbone structure of this really lightweight plane.
Yeah, that thing was
and it was
well
a monster.
Thought out.
It was a
Strong.
monster too, yeah. That was pretty cool. That was just those guys just having some fun, right? So we had our new Wonder Flite. It landed in one piece.
No damage.
No damage at all.
Did you have to set that in the corn? I don't know, or did you?
The wingtip caught the corn. I
That's what it was.
I was trying to bring it over to us so it wouldn't, but I ran out of space to do that.
It was a wide wing, man. Like,
It's a 12-foot wing, and the runway isn't 12 feet.
no.
So it was, and it was actually kind of cool to have Ben Harbor behind me because he flies all those other giant birds, so he knows all the problems of trying to land something ridiculously large in a really tiny space, and you know, his bird ended up crashing into the Flite Test sign, and the one wingtip kind of caught it solid because he was coming in for a really long approach because he knows it takes it a while to land, and he ended up kind of clipping the sign, and that messed up a bunch of things. It's like, oh, everybody was like, no, you know, because it was beautiful. We're looking forward to seeing it again. So, but he was like, it's a wonder. Just throw the thing in the air. There's never going to be anything wrong with it. This bird is awesome. Get this in the air. I appreciate the vote of confidence, buddy.
And he wasn't wrong.
No, he wasn't wrong. It flew great.
But it all worked out. Like,
yeah.
All that worked out great. It was great having Ben there because Ben is just, he's the giant plane guy.
Now he is.
You know, yeah. And so having him standing behind you while you're flying that thing had to have been like, yeah, this is cool.
Yeah. Oh, and then of course, you know, we had Connell, because they've been watching us put this thing together. Connell and his mom and a bunch of other guys were all like kind of behind, and they're like, Connell's face when we landed was like, wow,
Yeah,
that was awesome.
It was a great cheering squad.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was really cool. And I appreciate everybody's support along that journey to getting it to a flying piece of artwork. I don't know if that's what you call it.
You can say that.
Yeah.
You can say that.
And getting it back down to the ground in one piece.
One of my favorite moments of that flight was you coming in for landing, and you go, landing left to right, big plane, and you're just floating, and I'm like, he's not coming down where he thought where he wanted to.
You could have had a longer approach. That's gonna. He goes, we're going long.
Yes.
And then I step out in front of you and shout down the other direction, landing long. And you said afterwards, it was like I was sticking my head out there and saying, get the heck out of the runway.
Everybody move.
Yes.
Like Andre the Giant, it's fantastic. No, and it was nice to have the flight at Flite Test. I was worried it just wasn't going to happen. I mean, everything felt like it was just conspiring to like not happen. And then I'm like, the perfect time to do it would be flying with the Giants. If I couldn't do it any other time, and it's like, no, it's not going to happen. And then it turns out it worked out probably better. So while I would love to have flown it maybe one or two more times, the humidity and the rain that were promised the following day were like, yeah, we're going to pack this up and bring it home, and we'll fly it to the field I've got.
But you are going to fly it more times because it's currently in the trailer intact.
Intact in one piece, and it may fall a little bit to pieces, but they're fixable. Whatever it's going to do, it's fixable.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of the revision of the tail feathers?
I loved it.
I mean, the cutouts?
Yeah, the cutouts
I thought it was brilliant.
I think if you take time to paint, that's going to be sick.
I was actually impressed that even without the paint, you could see it from a distance. I don't know how to explain it very well. It's a dual layer.
It was was it embossed?
Technically, I
would be the term.
Yeah, it's what it looks like. It looks like an embossed thing.
First thing I think of was like board games. I have so many board games. I have double layer cardboard with cutouts where you put the things in so they won't slide around.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way the tail is. The pattern is cut into one of the sheets, so you've got depth to it, and it really pops.
Yeah,
I like it.
I remember that the board started to curl, so I'm like, well, if I can double layer it, but I don't want to add a lot of weight, how do I do that? Like, oh, I can even get the pattern in there. That makes it easy. I can go 2 boards at once. That saves down me some time. I'm like, okay, let's do that. And I spray glued it, and I didn't hot glue with the spray glue. And if I had hot glue with the spray glue, it would have held better.
Maybe, yeah.
Was it not holding up?
No, that spray glue came apart in the travel. Okay. And it gathered all the dust.
It did gather all the dust.
It gathered all the dust. I was like,
the overspray.
And that's part of what, when we opened up the trailer, why I was so disheartened. I'm like, not only are those things peeled to pieces, they just gathered all the dirt and gross. And I'm like, man, those are supposed to be pristine and nice.
At least on the trip over, we shook the trailer enough. There's probably no more dust in the rafters.
I don't see how.
Well, speaking of, this trailer's pulling like a dream now.
Yeah, we realized that one of the tires needed the belts, the steel belts were showing.
It was coming apart.
So, yeah, it was time. I got other things to look into about it, but...
You probably had a bubble in the tire before we even got going.
I can't even begin, and it's not even worth it. I bought a spare.
It's a good thing you did.
And so, I don't know, we possibly need it, because most of the stuff was untested, right? We double-checked the other tires in pretty good shape. And what I'll probably do is replace the old tire with a replacement and use that as a spare going forward. So yeah, it's worked out pretty good. So any other highlights from Saturday or anything?
Honestly, it's all kind of a blur, but
yeah.
I mean, this whole thing's a highlight, so it's always something to look at and see it do.
What about you, Joe?
Just Saturday was a chill day for me.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, I am really pleased that you were able to get up to the flight line. Because I know you had no idea. You were on shift. You had no idea. I was closing it all up, and it was like, holy crud, this is coming together. We're going to go flying. I'm like, where's my Joe? I need my Joe. And you're like, I don't think I can get here. I'm like, dang it, Joe.
Well, it happened to be up when I think you called me.
Right as your shift ended.
You called me, and I thought I had another 30 minutes on the shift.
Right.
I went by the volunteer hut and checked the schedule. I was like, nope, it's done at 8. It's 8 now. Lock the brake pedal. I'm heading to see Matt fly.
Yeah, which was awesome.
Yeah, which that whole thing was a highlight. After the entire week, all the prepping for the last year, or however long you've been working on it.
It was actually just 3 weeks.
Oh, is it? Okay. I mean, just all the work you've been doing on all your planes. Just to see that come together in that moment of glee, really, in that flight.
Yeah.
And sharing it with the whole week with old friends and new friends. That's great.
You know what I was surprised is the aircraft carrier idea, because I kind of assembled it and sort of left it on the other table, trying to figure out what in the world am I actually going to do with the thing. Ended up gaining a lot of attention. A lot of people were looking at it like, whoa, what is that? That's so cool. I didn't even know you could do that.
Part of it was its unique construction. You skinned it with like shrink wrap or something, was it?
Laminate.
Laminate.
Yeah, docu-lam, really.
I mean, everything else has got a foam skin. This is ribs with a translucent, transparent film.
Mm-hmm.
And that was
which makes it stupid.
Very light. It tried to fly away on its own.
Yeah, a lot. I felt like Mary Poppins.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll get you.
Joe's got that face
I'll get you an umbrella.
Look at me, guys! I'm Mary Poppins. From the end of the Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
You need a nap.
I do.
I got mine when we left the park.
Yeah.
Oh, we went by Edgewater.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we finished it up. It was the three of us and Ethan went over to Edgewater because we were leaving at about the same time. and we all wanted to check it out. So we got a chance to visit. What was your impression, guys?
It's a really neat place. I mean, they have made that an area where everybody and anybody can come and enjoy the hobby, learn about the hobby, and hang out. Gave that, from what I heard from the lady we talked to, kind of a facelift to a lot of it, and really put a lot of time and love into it, and it shows. It's also really cool to see the backdrop of a lot of their videos. It's like, oh, there it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of you see it on the camera, you kind of understand it, but it almost feels smaller than it is in camera.
Yeah,
I agree.
Well, there was also a lot of the area
it's plenty
closed off.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I think they do a lot of their video shooting
after hours
upstairs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that. Yeah.
Oh, the indoor stuff.
The secret area.
I was just thinking, in the videos, you see them like launching things off the balcony or working, and then they go to the ready board runway, and it feels in the videos often out further.
Yeah,
or bigger.
it's either, like everything seems a little bit further
but
away or
it's kind
bigger.
of really right there.
Yeah, it is. It's right there.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong, there's still plenty of room.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And I don't know where they got the stuff. They had some proper models for sale.
I'm pretty sure that was the Tyler Perry collection that came in on the I can't believe this entire what is that thing? Boxcar? What
Shipping container?
Was that?
Shipping container?
Yeah, shipping container.
I don't know the
yeah,
story.
they got a shipping container. Like, I can't believe this entire shipping container is just filled to the gills with planes.
Wow.
And they're all ours to do with whatever.
I didn't see that, but
That's one of their episodes. They're like, we got a crate from Tyler Perry, and we open it up, and it's nothing but planes. So we're gonna crash one of these things. I mean, we're gonna fly on one of these things. And I think they ended up crashing one of his.
I think each of us had to shuffle we were group collective, shuffling each other out the door because we were all slobbering over planes.
Oh my God! Yeah,
let's
like,
get out of here.
what is that?
It's
Oh, look at that!
Really good thing I'm flying home and it won't fit in my luggage.
Right,
So.
and I'm like, yeah, but I'm not.
Grab him by the arm.
That
Let's
plane
go.
is beautiful. Like, what do you mean it's only $200? Maybe. And I'm like, no.
Joe and I were almost arm wrestling over this little jet.
Right?
$100 EDF jet that was
Landing gear,
nice.
beautiful little thing.
Yeah, it was.
I say little, but it was a good sized plane.
It was everything I do to pull my card out.
And Ethan was excited about all the technical manual books that were there. There's like, they have all the dimensions and all the details, and it's a whole breakdown of the whole thing. Oh, I can't wait.
I just love. I walk back into the room, and he's got this manual pulled out on his side, folded out. He's like, "Hey, Joe, do you like centerfolds? Look at this one." And it turns out it's a centerfold of the skeleton of a big plane. He's like, "Isn't that a beauty?"
To be fair, it really was.
Yeah. That was so awesome. Yeah, and so that's kind of how we ended. I guess that's how we ended Flite Fest, right?
Absolutely.
And then we're on our trip
Yeah,
home
we're on the
now.
way home. Well, sort of home for me.
Well, to my house. Anyway.
You're home away from home.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. So, well, I think. Do we want to say anything else?
I guess that's it.
It's nap time.
We'll just kind of
nap time.
We'll leave it here, and if we don't pick back up to record anything else, then either you or I will do a after, kind of in post, do the closing bit. If we don't decide to fire
Well, you've been listening to Aviation Arts New Podcast. You can reach Joe at Aviation Arts.
Never mind.
You do better than I do anyway.
Well, then I'll do it in post if we don't record.
Okay, yeah. So it actually sounds okay.
Yeah, because I don't know.
Hopefully, we can get rid of some of the road noise.
Well, I don't know how bad. I don't think the road noise is going to be bad, but we'll see because I only had one of my Y connectors. There's 3 of us. I have 3 mics, but we only use 2. So Jesse's got one tied to the chair in front of him. Matt and my mic is hanging over the rear view mirror.
It'll probably pick up the constant kicking I've got in the back of your seat.
Oh, great. Thanks.
What, you're more worried about the sound of the kicking than the actual kicking, so I'm good.
Yeah, I'm worried about sound of the kicking. I don't know. We'll see how it all sounds. We're going to have to re-record this.
You're It'll be great. It'll be. It's part.
Thanks a lot, Jesse, for all that kicking.
It's part of the experience of Flite Fest. I mean, it's in the field, having fun. It's not perfect.
If you haven't gotten out to a fun fly or a bigger fly event, try it.
Yeah, if you only fly by yourself, I mean, it took me a long time to want to fly with other people around. I would go to my club purposefully when I knew no one was there, so they couldn't see me fly. Because I was nervous. I don't want to see me crash. Didn't want to see me do anything accidentally stupid. But now, I don't go when it's by myself. I want the friends around to watch and encourage me to do flights in the wind that I shouldn't do, or just to be there.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. And it's a very different experience to have people around to fly with. It's one of the main reasons I come down here.
Awesome. I'm glad you did.
All right, well, if we don't record, then you'll be hearing me do an outro, and if we do record again, we'll do it at that time. Should just be able to hit that pause button. Well, you locked the screen.
I did it.
Now I gotta unlock it.
Oh, man.
Now you've done it.
Good job, bro.
Yeah, I'm good at it.
You're the best.
I got talent.
You got something.
You just passed a speed trap.
They trapped me.
You get pulled over.
I can only go 4
And it
miles
says
an
you
hour.
found a speed trap. Yeah.
I'm trapped in a 4-mile zone.
Yeah.
Curse you, speed traps. And he's like, oh, I'll just do this instead.
Yeah, if he's burning up motors, something
Or
else is wrong.
Like he's either overpropping,
Could be.
It's causing him to pull too many amps through the ESC is likely what's happening.
Another time to talk about the power triangle or whatever.
Okay, well, we'll get you on. We'll
Okay.
talk about the power triangle. It's real simple. Don't go outside the lines.
That's all I do.
Danger outside the lines.
If you're gonna go outside the lines, know the rules.
Hey, I know we didn't get to like distribute. I don't know what a hot mess the whole thing was, but Amy did, and everybody, actually all of you guys did, put together the shirts and making sure we had shirts to wear that had the new logo.
Yeah.
And some of the new shirt ideas to see kind of how they'd be taken.
We're just randomly checking our lug nuts, I guess.
I do it all the time.
You do?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, now having the shirts was really nice.
Yeah, so big thanks to Amy for making sure that they were printed and looking good.
Oh, are we back on air?
We've been on air.
You guys look sharp. I mean, those shirts look good. Everybody got a kick out of the hot glue is hot because we said it all the time, and we could turn around and like, yep,
hot glue is hot. Every time.
Actually, that became a thing. Every time any one of us would say hot glue is hot, the rest would just finish it. That was good.
Yeah.